like, how does one become a half orphan?
You must forgive my sister. She does not think before she speaks sometimes.
Oh, no matter, no matter. But I do thank you for your generosity. It is much appreciated. And then I get up and I go back to my old seat.
Okay, with that dramatic turn of events, the night goes on. Your food is brought out. Lore and Winnie, you have your food, you have your ale, and you're enjoying yourself quite well, thinking about this new encounter you just had and this new gentleman you just experienced. Uh, at about this time, you do notice something else, Lore. You notice that some of the patrons in the place are eyeing the stranger near the hearth. It sounds like you can't really hear them, but it sounds like they might be talking about that person as well. Other than that, you have your meal and your drinks, and it's an uneventful evening so far.
Can I
Would
see
I?
anything about the stranger? Like, can I make details?
Uh, Go ahead and make a perception check. You make it. Wisdom perception.
17.
Well, you have a keen eye, and as you glance over your mug and over your meal, and you've got her directly in front of you, and I do say her because it is a female. It's quite obvious from the facial features, from the flickering lights of the fire, that this is a female. What race you cannot tell, but it is definitely a female. And she seems to be staring almost in a trance as her face glows from the fire. She's like staring into the fire. She looks like somewhat of a traveler. You can't really tell. I mean, she is really covered with that cloak, but you do see her face.
I'll just kind of like kick my sister from underneath the table and just kind of like give her the eyes over towards her.
What do you want me to do?
That's what she says.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
I'm just making her aware.
Hey, Alan, real quick. Would I? Not that I would notice what he noticed, but would I have picked up on the rest of the patrons talking about the stranger?
It's you really can't hear them. They're not.
Okay,
It's
okay,
nobody's
no, that's
really that close to
Okay.
you, but you do get the sense that, judging from them looking in her direction, and and the whispering going on, that yeah,
Is it
they're
a is
talking.
it is it more of a quizzical or is it a concern or what is the general tone that I can sense?
Odd.
Odd. Okay.
The
There's
next time
something.
the barmaid comes around, I want to grab her attention.
Okay. And she does. She comes out to check on you, maybe not 10 minutes after delivering your food. And at this point, you catch her name as she's known amongst the commoners that they keep referring to her as Lady Bortles. And she cheerfully comes back to your table.
How do you spell that?
Bortles. Lady Bortles.
All right, I just want
Oh,
to ask.
don't
Right.
forget, James, that you are the volunteered chronicler. So you'll be responsible
Yep.
for the group party
Yep.
notes, and
I'm
you'll
taking these notes.
you start off with inspiration for this session, so you can
Oh,
give
well, thank you.
yourself advantage if you need it.
I guess if there's I'll keep notes of what I think should be taken, but if there's something specific you want me to write down, call it out, and I'll make sure to write it down
Okay.
to
So
Winnie and Lore.
the barmaid comes over. I just want to kind of pull her close, so I can whisper to her and just ask her if she knows anything about the figure.
Okay. And as she comes over and she leans into you after you pull onto her and you whisper what you say to her. And she kind of goes quiet. Her smile kind of leaves her and she looks over at the stranger at the hearth. And she kind of lifts one eyebrow as she's looking at the stranger up and down. And turning back to you, she's quite matter of factly. She says right away that one there, that's a strange one.
How so?
Hasn't ordered any food, hasn't ordered any drinks. Just come in, got a room, and has been sitting there for hours, staring at the flames. It's an odd one, I think. But that's none of my business. And she pulls herself back up. And what else will you be having? Anything?
Hey, watch what I can do. I want to take one of my ball bearings and I want to throw it in front of that lady.
The stranger? The stranger?
Yeah.
All right.
Stick it right in front of her.
I'm just going to reach down with one of my hand axes just in case this turns bad.
All right, so you're whipping a ball bearing at the stranger.
Yeah, just in front of her.
Just in front of her. All right, no checks are needed for this.
Okay.
The ball bearing goes over and it lands. And you notice immediately she jumps from her seat a little bit and she kind of turns to look towards you, like out of surprise. But that's about it.
Okay. Look, she's not staring at it anymore.
And then she looks back into the fire.
Now
Like out when he's throwing rocks around. Get a reaction. Well, you got your reaction.
We've talked about this.
it worked.
I'm just going to finish my food and then ask where my room is. Our room, I guess.
All right, a few seconds go by, Winnie, as you threw this, and she looks back into the fire. But just as quickly, a few seconds pass, she looks back over at your table. She looks down at the ball bearing you tossed, and she does manage to pick it up. It's right there. And she stands up, pulls her robes tightly, as if to kind of hide herself, and then she starts to walk towards your table. And as she does, she looks up at you, Winnie, and she holds out her hand to give you back the ball bearing.
This will definitely catch my attention, I would imagine.
I'll take it back and I'll say, sorry, my brother was just really, really interested in you and he wanted to see your face better, so I had to throw it so you could turn this way.
And she kind of
sit there shaking my head. Just
okay. She smirks and she looks over at you, Laura. And there's definitely a smirk on her face. You can't really make out the details of her face because of the hood over it. It kind of shadows her whole face, but you can definitely tell she's feminine and she might not be bad looking actually. But she quickly pulls the hood over her face a little more and returns back over to the hearth where she sits.
Yeah, at this point, I definitely just want to finish my food and go to my room.
Yeah. And right there, and as you see all this transpiring before you, you can't help but get a little smirk of your own as you see what's going on.
Yeah, I'm definitely shaking my head at this one. Although I guess would I get the sense that the two of them would be getting ready to call it a night? Because I think after that interaction, if that were the case, I would probably wait a couple minutes and then go over to maybe speak with her.
You can tell that from Laura's standpoint, it looks like they're ready to pack it in. Is that what you asked me? If they were looking like they were ready to pack it in?
Yes.
Yeah, you can tell that Laura's looking a little bit that way, but he'd have to explain it himself. So go ahead, Laura.
Just this general look of embarrassment and this tiredness of my sister's antics, considering what just happened a few days ago, is still fresh in my mind, and I'm trying to keep as low a profile as possible in this journey. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Like the eating gets quicker, the drinking gets a little bit quicker, and I'm ready to go to bed and be back on the road.
Okay. So that's what you see.
Okay.
And after the stranger sits back down at the hearth, you all notice something out of the corner of your eye. Particularly you, Winnie and Lore. You both see this. But you catch two individuals who come walking in, and nightfall is just descending. Two individuals, no, there's actually three. Three individuals come walking in, and these are three more oddities, if you will. They stand out because when they enter the room, you notice that they seem to be looking at everybody, like they're eyeing people up and down. And as they do this and pause and wipe their feet, make their way to the bar, they order their drinks.
Do I see weapons?
They are armed.
Are they
I would
armed
suspect
like
probably everybody's armed,
mercenaries
right?
or armed like just travelers?
Most of the people in here, they're unarmed. Like I said, they look mostly like locals, farmers, people who've been here on a regular basis. These individuals are odd. They do actually have sabers on their waists. It's quite obvious.
What is the tone of the stranger? Does she sense them coming in, or does she change her demeanor?
Not at all. And one thing I should point out is that when you first enter the tavern, you can see the hearth, but it's not directly in front of you. It's a little bit to the right, and there's this wall with another door that leads to the kitchen that's actually right in front of you. So it's kind of offset. It's kind of hidden. But when you first enter, you can see the hearth and see who's there, but it's just barely visible. And once you turn left and go towards the bar, you're no longer able to see the hearth.
Do the new strangers, once they get over to the bar, do they look like they see the stranger and have a change in their demeanor?
Oh, for that, go ahead and make a wisdom perception.
And can I like look at them and sense if I can feel trouble brewing?
I only got an 11.
Go ahead, Laura. Go ahead and make a roll. Wisdom perception.
I don't see nothing. I got a 3.
Let me look here. All right, Fythern and Winnie. James, what did you ask me? You were specifically looking for something?
Yeah, if when they did get to the bar and were able to see, or at least be able to see the stranger, did they notice the stranger? Did they have a change in their demeanor or their behavior?
You did sense that they took pause once their eyes met the stranger sitting at the hearth. There was a recognition there.
Can I do like a, let's see, what am I? Or Lore asked a question, or he said he didn't see anything because he was he rolled a.
No, I rolled a 3. I don't know.
He's tired. He's ready to hit the hay.
Could I do an insight to see if they are? Shoot, if they are acting friendly or if they're going to act in a way that they're going to try to confront her negatively.
Is that something you could tell just by looking, or do you have to be interacting with the individuals to do that?
I don't know. Well, I guess body, would body language tell me if they're yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Let's take a look. Insight. What are you doing, Winnie?
I'm just gonna go up and go to bed too. I'm not used to walking for so long.
Yeah.
All right.
I am gonna hang back. I'll let my sister go up there, but I'm gonna hang back and go up to the bar and get another drink. Something a little less strong this time.
And I guess my other thing, and I suppose I did notice that they seemed to take notice of the stranger, right? We did establish that, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess what I would do then is I would probably get up, take my bucket, see if I could, like casually walk over to where she's sitting, and then if she doesn't react too badly to me, maybe casually sit down next to her. I can imagine myself kind of pensively staring off into the fire and crossing my legs, and then gently, kind of leaning over to her and saying something along the lines of, we've had a couple of strangers that have just walked into the bar who've taken interest in you. Is that something we should be worried about, or something, something along those lines?
Okay. Well, first of all, make an insight.
All right,
Wisdom.
give me a second. I gotta plug in my phone.
Okay.
My pants are falling over. Insight.
We don't want to see that.
My paints, not my pants.
Yeah, I thought he said pants too. But I remember he paints.
A 9. So my dice really are loving me today.
As far as you can tell, these guys just look like travelers who've taken an interest.
Okay.
In this stranger for some reason.
I think I would still go over and kind of do what I described.
All right, describe that again, because I was looking the rule up.
Oh, sorry. I grab my donation bucket and casually walk over to her and maybe casually sit down if she's, not negatively reacting to me, and then just kind of lean over and say, we've had a couple of strangers just walk in that appear to have taken an interest in you.
Okay. And while this is going on, Laura, Winnie?
I'm
Anything?
walking up to the bar to get something more to drink, and I'm just gonna, instead of go back to the table, I'm just gonna kind of stand at the bar and sip the drink, see if I can overhear anything or.
Okay.
And I want to go up to the room and I want to set up a prank for whenever my brother comes back to the room.
All right. You've had enough of this. You're going up to the room. All right, Winnie, you have no problem heading up the steps, right, when all this is going on. Your brother's obviously wants to do a little bit more drinking. So you're going to go up and get a little surprise going.
Yeah.
And Laura, as you go up to the bar, you notice that these 3 individuals kind of eye you up and down in a kind of negative sort of way. They look like gruff individuals who could be quite dangerous. And at that point, one of them turns about as soon as you reach the bar and heads for the door and basically leaves.
Okay.
And as he does that, go ahead.
Okay, so growing up in a tavern, I kind of have gotten feelings over, and that seems suspicious to me. I'm just gonna kind of eye him back and then kind of turn so my longsword is kind of showing, and I'm just gonna make before I do, I'm gonna make sure it's loose, but just kind of turn at an angle so they know that any trouble that goes down will not go unanswered.
Ah.
I won't say anything, but I'll just kind of let my body posture be like, look, I'm not here for a fight, but don't start anything.
All right, gotcha. All right, and as you do this, you show you show your weapon. The one of them turns and starts heading towards the door as if to leave. The other 2 look over at you as you reveal your blade. The one kind of snickers at you, like, what's your problem? He says. And as this is going on, Fithern, you make your way over to the stranger. bucket in hand, and you pull yourself alongside. There's a little stool there next to hers that you can pull up and get close and say what you say, which is, go ahead, James.
Yeah, sorry, I muted it. I had to move some laundry around. Excuse me. There's a couple strangers that have walked in who appear to have taken notice in you. Is there anything we need to be concerned about?
And with that, her face definitely lights up, and she looks over towards the entrance. You can't see anybody where the entrance is, and you cannot see the bar from this position. But her face definitely lights up, and she looks at you right in the eye, and she says, "Who were they? What did they look like?"
Well, they didn't look like nice people.
You can definitely see a look of concern. And as that happens, around the corner walks these two individuals from the bar, and they approach. Now, Laura, you see these two individuals as they turned to and walked away after they gave you a snicker, and the one went out the door.
Do I have enough time? Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Bar and keep an eye on them.
Okay, so you're keeping your eye as they leave the bar and head towards the hearth.
Yeah. I'm going to keep them under close investigation because I do not trust them.
Okay.
Do I have enough time to like stand up and intercept them and shake my bucket and kind of approach them to kind of intervene between them and the stranger? Okay. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll have my bucket and I'll kind of give her a bow and thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time. And then I'll start shaking my bucket. Gentlemen, if I could have a moment of your time, please.
All right. As you do, make a strength acrobatics or strength athletics check.
Acrobatics or athletic. I will. Do you mean dex acrobatics?
Is it dex? I thought they were both strength.
Athletics is strength. Dex is acrobatics is dex, and I'd much rather do that one if I can.
All right. Well, basically what's happening is as you do this and get in front of him, the lead one reaches to grab you. So what he's doing is he's grappling you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So dex acrobatics, I suppose, eh?
It's strength athletics or dex acrobatics. So You're right.
Yeah, I'll do my acrobatics. That would give me a 16.
That's not bad at all.
All right, as you put yourself in front of him, he tries to grab you, but at the same time, you kind of grab him. So you've definitely got his attention. You've got a hand on his arm and holding him. And as you do this, the second one rounds the corner and sees this and reaches for his sword. Now, Laura, you see this as well. You saw this at the corner. You can see the last guy kind of reach for his sword. He's not drawing it, but he's definitely reached for it. And the first one says to you, "Out of the way, you mangy fool."
All right, so I'm just going to walk up behind him, draw my short sword off my back, and just place it on the other guy's shoulder.
All right, so you're moving up behind him.
Sword.
All right, so you're moving up behind him. You're not aggressively charging into action.
No, I'm just going to kind of just draw my short sword, put it on his shoulder, and just let him know that he's not the only one with weapons. Like, make the statement that there is to be no trouble tonight.
Okay, this one in the back definitely feels your blade, and he turns around, feeling the blade on his shoulder. His hand is still on the. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna don't turn around. He's gonna stay right where he is.
All right. All right. As you do that, he slowly kind of turns around, but he does have his hand on his sword. The one in the front doesn't see this, but you see what's going on, Phythorn. Is there anything you'd like to do at this point?
I just, just to kind of defuse the situation, sir, I understand your desire to really want to donate to the order of orphan children against the war against the evil vampires. But we don't need to be aggressive about it. We could certainly sit down and have a discussion about this, if you will.
the one in front that you're talking to, he just he kind of looks at you with a strange look, and he just pushes at your shoulder. You kind of fall back a little bit. He reaches for his sword. He goes past you up to the stranger, the lady, who you don't know her name yet. But anyway, he puts his hand on her shoulder. She's right close to you. Puts his hand on her shoulder, and he says, "Wench, you're coming with us." And she immediately turns up, looks at him, and reaches for her dagger. Now, at this point, what would you like to do?
I'll cast sleep.
All right, so you're going for a spell. Lore, what are you doing?
I'm just gonna whistle.
Scream for Winnie.
I have a partner. I have his backup.
What were you doing?
I'm just gonna whistle at him, like when he says that. I'm just gonna whistle at him to get his attention to let him know that I have his partner on lockdown.
Gotcha. All right, so you're gonna try and grapple him.
I will grapple the one in front, and then, like, kind of just try and give him a hold, and then get the other guy's attention.
Okay, I say grapple because as you start to make the moves, this individual whips around and pulls out his sword. So everybody roll initiative, please. Now, where's Winnie? She's upstairs, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's upstairs pulling her. So, yeah.
Now, if you would like, Winnie, I'll let you make a wisdom perception check to hear what's going on down here and react to it. Otherwise, you're stuck up in that room, preparing your hijinks. Other than that, you guys give me your initiative scores.
Farthing got a 12.
22. Natural 20.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Winnie, did you make a wisdom perception check?
Yeah, it was 11.
So close to me.
All right, you go ahead and roll initiative as well.
Alrighty. Be 24.
We both rolled natural 20s for our initiative.
Wow. Score. All right.
We like to fight
Looks
together.
good. Now, as this is happening, these guys are pretty loud. I mean, they're letting it be known that they want this wench, as they call it. And Winnie, you hear this from upstairs, and you're kind of pulled back from your hijinks that you're all getting ready, you know, slipping something over the door and all this good stuff, putting stuff in the bed. But you hear this, and you immediately get some concern. What would you like to do? You're up. All right, hold on. I got to bring up a map. Sorry.
Okay.
I got to bring up the map.
Remember when I was starting combat to get the map up there?
Yeah, yeah.
I was only joking. I wasn't trying to be serious.
Uh-huh. All right, can you see the map?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, let me move some things around. Now, my mouse is probably a little lagged. You'll see on the screen, but I'll hold it here. Where it is right now, that is, I'm going to pick you up, move you over here. This is Fythern.
Okay.
Okay. And this is the stranger.
Which one? I'm sorry. Show again. Wiggle again.
Can you see where my pointer is?
Yep.
That's the stranger. This is you right here, Fythern.
Okay.
And right in front of you is this guy that burst through and put his hands on the stranger.
Okay.
Now, behind him is the second villainous dude who's right here at the corner.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to pick up Lore, and I'm going to put him right here, where he was just intimidating this guy, or trying to. And Winnie, I'll put you at the top of the steps, all right? Each square is 5 feet, of course. So you're up first, Winnie. You're at the top of the steps. I'll give you that position you're currently at. Whoop, I got you in the wrong spot, don't I? Top is right here.
All right.
So,
And
so what would you like to do? And I'll move your character.
is the first guy, is he still touching the stranger? Like, does he still have his honor?
This guy right here,
Mm-hmm.
he's got his hands on her. He attempted to grapple her, but with all the screaming and this individual right here, Fythern, getting in the way, this is their current location. Now, you don't know much anymore. Like, you don't really know what's going on, but I'll let you, you know, once you get to the bottom of the steps, this is what you see. So why don't we put you down 10 feet with a move action right to the corner. So that's 10 feet.
Let's see.
And this is what you see. Now, there's other patrons scattered about, but at this point, they're all kind of clearing away from this sudden altercation that's taking place.
I want to get attention on me to let everyone know up there. So I've got a bell, and I'm going to take it down, and I'm just going to ring it really fast and be like, I'm over here, everyone. What? Probably not going to do it like that. She won't say it.
Oh my god.
So what are you doing?
I'm going to take my bell out and ring it really loud to try to get all the attention on me, because I don't know what's going on. I just want everyone to pay me.
All right. So yeah, as you move down to the bottom of the steps and see all this craziness going on, you pull into your pack or wherever you have it. And you pull out your bell and start clanging away, ting 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 ting. And I guess that's it.
Yeah.
And then we go to Lore. You turn about and hear this clanging. What do you do?
I know it's my sister because that's exactly what she would do. So, the one dude in front of me, he's drawing his sword, right? Like he's
right.
All right. So I'm just gonna put a quick end to that, and I'm just gonna kind of slash at his legs, and yeah, we'll just go for it.
All right. Attack roll. Go for it.
That's a 12 to hit.
You hit.
All right. And that is...
Did they look like they were wearing any armor or anything like that? Or just ruffian clothes?
That's
have it's pretty obvious they have leather armor. They're not hiding it.
Okay.
What'd you get?
9 points of damage.
All right, you whip your sword across this guy's legs, cut across his flank, in fact, and you do some really good damage to this guy. I mean, he even falls down to one knee. He's definitely writhing in pain from your attack. You still have a movement.
Now, drop the weapons, and everyone leaves alive.
All right, charisma intimidation.
Intimidation 8.
All right. Well, they definitely hear you, and the guy you just more angry than anything else at this point. So, yeah, the battle continues.
Okay, fine. Be that way.
You had your chance. I'll get you for that, you. All right, so are you going to take a move? You still have a move.
Nope. I'm staying right where I am.
At this point, this individual that you hit gets back up onto his standing posture off the knee. What's your armor class?
13.
13?
Yep.
And he whips about with his sword. It pulls out, and he slashes across your chest. You take 4 points of damage. In the meantime, Phythorn, since you've gotten yourself in the way, this individual has turned his attention to you. Since you are the most threatening and you attacked him.
I did not, sir.
What is your armor class, fool?
13.
Huh?
13.
13.
Okay.
All right, he whips his sword out in lightning fashion, and as he does so, he cuts across your arm and across your chest, and you take a total of 4 points of damage. That hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your turn.
Okay, not knowing. Is there aren't attack of opportunities per se, right? So, like, can I cast a spell next to him and not worry about being attacked?
It's funny you asked that because I was looking that up because I know Pathfinder is quite explicit about that stuff, but
Yeah.
I didn't see it specifically regarding spell casting or things of that nature. It's basically if you move out of his reach, which for these guys with their swords is 5 feet, they can get an attack of opportunity on you. And it's the rule in the combat section under of attacks of opportunity only mentions that and that alone.
Yeah, I is that something that I can do to what can I do? Okay.
If you want to cast if you want to cast a spell close range like this, go for it, and we'll look up the spell details.
Well,
I
was thinking if I can. Okay, it's an actual action, so I can't do a spell and disengage in the same turn. So, shoot. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna disengage, and then as my action, and then back up. I've got 30 feet of movement, and kind of where that second set of tables are back there. The second grouping, kind of between, the picnic table looking tables that are kind of have the walls.
Oh, this thing with the tablecloth?
Up.
I wish you
into
could
the
move
corner.
your own guy.
Yeah, I know. Take from that square, go right 4 squares.
All right, this is right.
Yep, keep going.
Excellent.
I'm going to go tuck into that second little alcove right there.
Oh, in here? You want to go into the alcove?
Yeah, so I can still kind of poke my head out.
Okay, that's thinking. Where's the square edge? Well,
that alcove's actually kind of.
I'll tell you what. You want me to put you here because this way you'll have 3/4 cover.
Yeah,
and
that's
you'll
fine.
still be able to interact. If I put you further in, you'll be on top of the table, for God's sake.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so you can get some decent cover in here and still see what's going on. Yeah, he's going to take an attack of opportunity on you.
I disengaged.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yeah. All right, and is that it, or?
Yeah, that's all I can do. Is move and disengage.
All right, so this is the situation. Winnie, what are you going to do?
Well, I just saw that guy.
Yep.
Attack my brother. So can I take my short bow out and shoot a bow at him?
You want to shoot the bow at him?
No, shoot an arrow at him.
Throw the bow.
Jesus, to pull back the bow and shoot the whole bow.
That's totally a Monty Python thing. You see the camera switch to him, and you see this bow hit him at the side of the head.
Just throws the bow at him. All right, make your attack roll.
Okay.
It's this guy right here, the one next to the stranger.
The one.
I think she's doing
my brother.
Oh, okay. All right, he's going to have half cover, and he is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Wait a minute. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 feet
That should be within range.
It shortens.
But he has half cover, which is going to give him a bonus, I believe, of +2 to his armor class.
Alright, so make the roll.
What do I?
And then it's your. Just not here.
Oh, okay.
What's a +6 to your roll?
I got 14.
Nice.
You hit him. Roll your damage. Damage.
Where's that? What are you doing?
Oh, yep.
Damage is different dice. The
6. I got 6 points damage.
All right, your arrow sinks true and deep. He falls to the ground with a horrible scream.
I mean, I'm sorry.
There you go. Laura looks quite impressed and amazed at the same time. What just happened? We killed somebody. Oh no.
Alright, so is he, like, I can tell the guy is out.
Winnie, are you done? Do you want to move or anything? You still have movement.
Yeah, I'll go to that first table. I don't want to get too close. The first round table.
And your bow is drawn. Okay, Lore, how do you react to this sudden change of events?
I'm gonna laugh because I'm proud of my sister for finally doing something with her life. And then now, if I were to draw my longsword, would that be an action?
I believe it's a free action.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it.
I will put down my. I'll just drop my short sword and draw my long sword because we're in. I'm in it now.
Yeah, you
And
are.
Walk up to the guy and I'm just gonna take a swing at the other dude.
Right here?
Yep.
It looks like you're on the table. All right, so you push the chair aside and rush forward. So you're on him. Make your attack.
13 to hit.
You hit. Roll damage.
At the D8. Seven points of damage.
Ooh, you hit him good and you hit him hard. He feels it. But he's still standing. Are you done?
You had your chance to leave. And do I have any movement left?
Where were you? Here? 5. Yep. You only move 5 feet.
Can I move in front of him so I'm between? Like, I don't want to be right in between him and Fiverr, but I kind of want to be enough in the way so he can't get past me to get to anybody that I actually care about.
No problem. Right here, good?
Well, I don't really care about Python, but you know, not yet.
Hey, it's okay. I got a copper from you. I got to make sure you live so that way you can give your speech to the orphan children.
All right, so you're done. All right, as you make your move onto the side, let me move this map a little. Let me shrink it down a little bit for a second.
But I mean, one dude's already dead. There's much of a threat.
I gotta get something here. Pogs? I don't want pogs. Where is he? Need one more guy here. He'll do.
There it is.
So I need him. Where's that? Oh, this guy.
Oh, gee. There's more.
Let's see. He's armed and armored, even though these guys don't look it. me see here. What happens here is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Into the front entrance rushes 2 more of these individuals. One of them, Fithrin, you recognize as the guy that was in here earlier that turned about and left. And so do you, Lore. And they're about, if you go here, I don't want him there. Ignore this guy. Pretend you don't exist. And they get about this far. Now, they're basically armed just like the other guys. I'm using different tokens here.
Same guys, basically. Okay.
Actually, this guy right here is dead. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me get rid of him and replace him with this. So these guys can burst in through the door, 2 of them. Swords drawn. They're just like the other 2. And like I said, one of them was one of the guys that was in here earlier. And they make it to about this distance right here with swords drawn. And as they do this, Frith, what do you do? Fight.
So just so I was looking down the cards. Those 2 guys that are right by the corner of the new guys.
Right.
Okay, those 2 guys. Okay, and then so I am going to cast I'm going to reach into my pouch. I'm going to pull out some fine sand and some rose petals, and I'm going to mash them in my hands. And then I'm going to blow it towards those 2 new guys. I'm going to cast Sleep, and I'm going to aim my aiming point. So it's a 20-foot within 20-foot point of the point that I aim. But I'm going to aim in a way so that way it catches those 2 and that 3rd guy. So I don't know if I can maybe I don't know how well I can aim this. Basically, is there a way that I could set my aiming points that way I can catch all 3 of them?
You should be able to. Let me see here. Sleep?
Sleep, yeah.
Creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose within range are affected in ascending order. So as long as you can see the point that's within range, I believe you have to see it.
Yeah, I would imagine I get pretty much. I'm kind of thinking maybe if I aim over by that one table that's to the left, kind of back in that way, so that way it catches those 2 for sure, and then the corner of it also catches that 3rd guy. Can I do that?
You can definitely do that.
Okay, so I will do that. So I need to roll 5d8 to determine how many hit points worth. So. Not horrible. 10, 17, 23 hit points worth.
All right, that easily drops the 2 guys that just came in.
Nice.
Is there a save for this? There should be.
Let me. This spell sends creatures into a magical slumber. Roll 5d8. The total is how many hit points of creatures the spell can affect. Creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose within range are affected in ascending order of their current hit points. So I think people with the least amount. So I think that is that other guy damaged.
No, these 2 guys are fresh. This guy took some major damage, so he'd be the first one.
I think he'd go down first. Each creature affected by the spell falls unconscious until the spell ends. The sleeper takes damage. So he's unconscious until the spell ends. After a minute, takes damage, or someone uses an action to shake or sleep or slap them awake.
So there's no save on it.
Not now, no.
All right. So yeah, he easily drops. And do you remember what you rolled again?
23.
23. Okay, so okay. All right, so what's going to happen is this guy here and this guy right here that just came in. I'm going to put him right on the line so you know.
Okay.
They're actually on the edge of the squares. Those guys fell asleep. This guy did not. He's okay.
Oh, poor little guys got all tuckered out.
They just got all tuckered out. They come running in, screaming and hollering, and just oh. That was that. This guy had no clue what happened up by the hearth. His foot's dangling in the fire, and he's catching. Ah. And you have your movement.
Nope. I think I'm gonna stay kind of tuckered back where I'm at.
All right, so that was pretty cool. Phythrin leaps up on the back side of the tables here, gets a nice angle on this spot back here in the table, and just puts these guys right out. Good job. And as that happens, and they begin to fall asleep, you see another individual enter the fray, following up where these guys came from the engines. Let's see, 5, 10, 20, 25. And he's going to pass through his buddy, or the corner anyway. And he gets to about this distance right here, kind of looking amazed, like, what just happened in here? And he has his sword drawn as well. This guy looks particularly nasty.
Is he wearing any kind of armor that I can see?
They pretty much have leather armor. That's about all you can see. If you want to make a perception check, I can get as detailed as you want.
I'll do that on my turn.
All right, and that is it. And we're going to go back up to Winnie.
Okay.
So you see all this stuff going on. You see these bad guys coming in, rushing through the entrance. They just dropped, except for the one. This guy back here is still up. And this guy also came in, and he's a little bit different looking, and particularly rugged looking as well. And this guy also dropped asleep. So basically, there's 2 opponents currently.
Can
still
I
standing.
Over to the stranger?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to go over to her and be like, what's going on?
The innocence of
right.
youth.
All right, as you make your way around the back of the action, right next to her, you grab hold of her shoulder, and she's startled once again as she turns to you, and she has a dagger pulled out, but she's kind of kneeling down. She's not really getting involved. She doesn't really look like a fighting type of individual, but she's definitely scared, and she has a look of concern on her face. And the only reply she gives you is, I don't know. I've got to get out of here before they take me. Did you get that?
Yeah.
All right, so your movement is pretty much done. You have an action yet. I'll give you an action. That was a quick exchange.
Okay.
Let me see. Where were you? Right here? Right there.
Yeah.
So 15. You have about 15 more feet. Is your movement 30?
Yeah.
All right. So if you want, you can still continue moving.
Okay.
And still take an action.
Is there any way that I can, like, have her come with me back towards where I was?
Sure. You grab hold of her arm and you say, come with me. Come this way. Without hesitation, she follows you, and you get to about this position back here, and she is with you. She's following along with you.
And then that's all I'll do.
Okay. Laura, you saw your sister pop up. She did what she did. You saw her pull the stranger to the side. What do you do?
That's fine. I'm just not going to acknowledge that. I'm just gonna move over towards the rougher looking dude, the one that looked a little bit different than everybody else. And I'm just gonna come up to him. I'm just gonna swing at him with the longsword.
Let out a cry, jump up on the table, and let fly.
Well,
you hit.
Oh. That is 10 points of damage.
Ouch. All right, you leap forward, jumping up on the table. I'm going to give that to you because it's cool. You slam down him with a couple cross shots. You cut him pretty bad, and he looks like he's been taken by surprise. But he grits his teeth and he looks up at you. And you're next, boy.
I'm just going to grin at him. He doesn't know who he's got involved with.
Exactly. James, what is how long are these guys asleep?
1 minute.
1 minute? Oh, that's a whole round.
So was that 10 rounds?
10.
I mean,
All right.
He can take an action to wake him up if he wants.
Yeah.
Or if he takes damage.
All right. In the meantime, this guy here who's not asleep, he sees you rush forward and get on the table and take a lunge at this fellow compatriot of his, and he uses his sword to hammer at you. So what is your armor class?
13.
Oh, God. Double 1. So, yeah, that was a dismal failure on his part. It seems the high ground was particularly advantageous for you in this case.
You should have watched the third Star Wars.
Yep. Now, this is just insanity happening before you for Firth. I can't say your name, man.
Fythern.
Leave it to James to come up with these crazy exotic names. Fythern. Go ahead. It's your turn.
Now, where is that new guy, the leader-looking guy at? Is he the round pog-looking guy?
Yeah, he's got a shiny hat.
Oh, he's that one. Okay. I will. Yeah, I will kind of peek around the corner and then kind of stick my hand out and chant some words. And then it looks like a ghostly skeletal visage of my hand, like removes itself from my arm. So it's like a copy of my hand, but it's skeletal. And then it'll go out and it'll try to touch the shiny helmet dude. And I'm
what
gonna
is
cast,
the spell?
It's Chill Touch, and it's my cantrip. So I will try to attack him with it, and that's a +5. I don't think a 10 is going to hit, is it?
Nope.
No. So it's like the hand goes out and then it like just goes right into the wall and dissipates. So I'm like, well, I think I need to aim a little better next time.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's a pretty cool cantrip, actually. All right. So this ghostly hand appears before this obvious spellcaster and shoots its way towards the villain that just came into the room, but he manages to evade it. Total miss. And with that, you're not going to move. You're done.
I'd say I'm in a pretty comfortable spot right now. So yeah, I'm liking my. You know what? Actually, I'll move up. I'll give myself an escape route. So I'll move to the corner of the banister of the stairs.
Right here.
Yeah. So I can still kind of poke around the corner.
Gotcha.
Is that like a solid wall, or is it have like rungs?
That's a wall, but you can peek around the corner here.
Yeah. I'll do that.
Okay. This guy's particularly not happy with the one in front of him, who lunged up on top of a table and took a nice chunk out of his armor. He lashes at you.
Hey, real quick.
What is your armor class?
13.
Lore. And with a particular vengeance, he cleaves his sword into you, and you feel it. And you are going to take some damage, which is... All right. What's your armor class again?
13.
Okay, he with a flurry of blows, he comes down upon you, and he does manage to get one of his shots in, and you are going to take a total of... I thought I knew what it was. Where is it? All right, you take a total of 7 points of damage.
Okay.
Ow.
Did that hurt?
Oh, it hurt.
Ouch. And with that, Winnie.
Okay. I'm going to get her to the bottom of the steps.
Okay.
If she's going to go up, I'll let her by.
I'm going to wait at the bottom steps because I'm going to turn around and say, can you guys quit hitting my brother? And then I'm going to shoot that guy.
You going up the steps?
No, I'm just going to stay at the bottom of them.
All right. And you got the stranger in tow. Oh, boy. All right. And is that it? You're all done?
I'm gonna shoot an arrow at the guy who just hit Lord Warren.
All right. He's gonna be really hard to see. He's gonna have almost 3/4 cover.
Yeah.
Your brother's in the way, as usual.
Yeah. I'm gonna try really hard. Dang it.
Oh.
20.
Nice.
It's a 16 plus
4.
Oh wait, no, 16 plus 6, so 22.
Jeez.
Wow. Nice hit. Good shot. Roll your damage.
That is 10 points of damage.
Jeez.
Wow. What is happening here?
I feel sorry for that guy.
Yeah. All right. With a deadly shot from her bow, Winsey scores a nice good shot right in his chest. He takes some damage and lets out a howl, but he's still standing.
Okay.
And with that, Lore,
Okay.
seeing this arrow come whipping between your legs and sinking deep into the opponent, what do you do?
As a bonus action, I'm going to use Second Wind.
Okay.
So that's 1. Okay, so I get 8 temporary hit points.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm just gonna get a guttural roar and just attack this dude.
You gonna hammer down on him?
Oh yeah. No, I am not. That is only a 7.
I will give you advantage because you are on the table. So if you want to...
Okay, yeah, I'll take that advantage. That's 20, not natural.
20?
Yep.
Okay, you hit. Roll your damage. Uh-oh.
Yeah, 10 points of damage.
All right, you hammer down on top of him with your blade, cutting deep into his shoulder muscles, and he's definitely feeling it. His one arm goes limp, but he's still standing. And he looks up at you and he grits his teeth. The battle continues. And with that, his partner here in crime, over on your left, Lore, launches into you as well. And he will do 6 points of damage. And that'll affect your temporary hit points. So he hit you.
Okay.
Fythern, you're up.
I'm upstairs right now, but he's up on the table still, right?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
So I'm going to cast Grease kind of on that 10-foot square where those two guys are, because those two guys didn't move yet, did they? Or they're still in their same spot?
The guys that are still standing?
Yeah, the two bad guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to cover that 10-foot square that covers the two of them, and then the floor underneath the table part where Laura's standing.
Okay.
With Grease spell.
All right. It's a good thing he's on the table.
Yeah. So they both need to make a dexterity save to remain standing, or they fall prone.
And that just affects the surface underneath. It won't affect the table. Actually, the table could go sliding around.
I suppose, but I figured that's probably better than him actually standing in it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I take a little bit of butter out of my pack, and then I smash it between my hands, and I throw it towards them, and that 10-foot square underneath them, just covered with grease.
All right, what's the DC?
13. Dex, 13 dex.
Laura, you see all this insanity going on all around you. Arrows coming between your legs, sinking into this guy, you crashing down on him, and just that quick, these two individuals fall to the ground. Something underneath them has caused them to slip and slide uncontrollably. And I'll put them on the edges of the squares to show that they are both prone. You will have advantage if you attack them melee.
Nice.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Any movement? Fythern?
Nope. Although if the two try to get by, I'll allow them to. I'll obviously give them access to get by me.
Okay.
Hug the wall or whatever I need to do.
I think they can move right through your square. It's friendly guy, but doesn't it count as difficult ground?
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm just if I see them moving by, I'll like hug the wall or whatever to let them by.
You will. And let me look up grease right here. What does it take for him to get up? Is it some kind of?
I think they can get up, but a creature that enters the area or ends its turn there must also succeed on a dexterity saving throw. So they can get up and move and be fine, but if they just stand and stay where they're at, then if they stand up, they'd have to take another dexterity saving throw.
So basically, to stand up is half his movement gone, and just to do that, and then he just moves away. He just can't end in there.
Correct.
And with that, he will do just that. So, 5. Let's see. He's going to move to this position here for 10 feet.
Did he move out of melee range with me?
No.
No.
And then he attacks. What's your armor class?
13.
His flurry of blows misses. It must have been all that grease stuck on him, so he did not connect with his attacks. But he has moved to a flanking position on you at this point, Lore. And with that, Winnie, you have the stranger next to you in your arm. It's getting chaotic. What do you do?
Can I take her upstairs to our room?
Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So you can do that. Full movement will take you up. You'll still be outside of the room, but you are out of harm's way with her.
Okay.
She gladly follows you. Unusual, since she was so reluctant to even show her face before. Is that it, or?
Can I out my disguise kit
Sure.
and try to make her not look like her?
Well, it's probably going to take time to use the kit.
Yeah.
But I'll let you get it out.
Okay.
All right, so you're at the top of the steps going through all this. In case things turn sour, Winnie is on the ball. And with that, we go to Lore.
Okay. So this guy that's over here still on the ground, if I were to move so I'm not flanked anymore, would he get an attack of opportunity, or is he still flat?
Well, keep in mind, whatever you do, if you come off this table, you're going to be subject to that grease spell. How long does that last, James?
It lasts for 1 minute.
Oh,
Okay.
Another 10 rounds. Keep track of that.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Well, I
You can
will
move
stay
back.
on, and I'll just keep swinging at the big shiny Humvee.
Well, you can still attack this guy here as well.
Yeah,
He's
I don't want
prone.
him. I want the other guy.
All right. Okay, launch into him. I'll give you
All right.
advantage because you're on the table.
Okay. 20.
Okay, you hit.
Not good on the damage though. Total of 5 points of damage.
All right, you come down on him from the high position of the table, which is definitely helping you out big time. And you smash into him and manage to catch him alongside of the head and draw some major blood. Big artery is cut, and the blood starts shooting everywhere, and he collapses to the ground with a scream.
Huzzah.
And that is that. And you want to do anything else? That was your attack.
I'm just gonna turn and look at the other dude.
Throw down your sword.
Yeah, kind of like just Terminator style, just knock
Throw
him off
down
one
your
by one.
sword.
Yeah.
Okay. You finish off your opponent. You turn about on the table and look menacing. Give me a. Well, how are you intimidating? You just saying those words and looking nasty.
Just yelling at him. Just
All right.
full of fight and rage.
All right, give me a charisma intimidation.
Natural 20.
Woo!
So a total of 21. Wait,
Okay.
no, a total of 23.
Ouch. All right, and with that, he looks up at you and he just starts quivering. Remember, he's on the ground. He's slipping and sliding. His boss just got knocked to crap. All his buddies are on the ground, either asleep or sliding around. And he throws down his sword. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. I've had enough. Show mercy. He's trying to get up. He looks like a big squiggly worm. He just can't do it.
Noticing that, I'll poke my head out and recommend. Do we have some rope we could maybe tie up the other two gentlemen who are taking a nap?
Yeah. Are we out of combat officially?
You are out of combat at this point, unless you want to finish him off and be nasty to him.
No.
Okay.
I'm not cruel, but.
All right, so the situation is this. This guy here, he basically threw his weapon down. He's giving up. He's pretty much on his back or on his knees. He's having a hell of a time getting up. These other two individuals will wake up shortly. They are laying prone, passed out. This guy here has been severed arteried. He's pretty much done. There was another guy. What happened to that other guy?
They were
You
the one. There's
you-
I used them, but
one.
Yeah, he
Oh yeah,
died.
that's right. He's asleep.
No, that one died. He killed.
Oh, he
that one.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so these two are asleep.
Yep.
Yep.
This guy's surrendered, and this guy is dead. I'll take him off. I'll put him over here. He's having a drink now.
So I've still got about 6 more rounds of that sleep left. So, Lord, do you have rope on you?
Yeah, I have rope.
So if you want, you could toss me, or if I could help you get down, and then we could tie those guys up real quick.
Yeah, we'll tie them all together, like back to back in a nice little circle.
Yeah, and I think we should like lay them down in such a way so that way they're laying down and looking at the dead guys' faces, like right into their faces, so that way they know what'll happen to them if they.
I'll take their leader and just kind of sit them on a table, and then so when they wake up, the first thing they see is their dead boss.
That is a great idea. I like that idea.
Just brilliant.
Hearing that everything's done, I'm gonna put my disguise kit back, and I want to go back downstairs with her. But I still want to hold on to her because I still don't trust her all that much. But I want, while they're tying them up, I want to be like, "Hey guys, draw mustaches on their face too." That'd be really funny.
Ignoring my sister. All right. So are we done tying them up? Are they secured?
You have no trouble tying them up if you have the rope.
Yeah, I got 50 feet of rope.
Okay. So they put up the one guy puts up a little bit of a struggle, but it's not an issue.
Head and turn it towards his boss as a reminder about what happens.
Okay, so you got their boss all displayed here. No weapons or anything. Just brutalized, a big lifeless body laying on the table. And you guys are hovering over them.
And a few seconds probably after that is when my spell expires.
What, the sleep?
Yeah, it'd be probably shortly after that when the sleep expires.
I'm still gonna slap.
And the grease expires. So.
All right, so that was the end of this little battle here. Everybody looks like they're in shock. There's people cowering. There's a couple people under the tables. The barkeep and the lady, you don't see them at all. It's just you guys in this room with the tied up bodies and the carcass of this one guy just laid out on top of the table, and another guy somewhere in here. Yeah, and you do have the stranger.
After they're tied, can I search the bodies and search the guys we tied for any gold or money?
You can rifle through their pockets. Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah.
All right, you don't need any check for this because it's pretty obvious what they have, unless you want to really dig into things like their boots and their underwear. That would be an investigation check.
I'll do an investigation. I want to see if I find anything interesting.
All right, do the full kilt.
Nope. 1.
But you go through them. You find that they each have maybe a little pouch on them for a total of maybe 5 copper pieces, and that's it. However,
5 for all 4 of them, or all of them? 5 in total?
For the 4 first guys, yes. You got about 5 copper.
Okay.
They don't really have much. However, the one guy who stands out in particular, now they're all wearing leather armor, and they're carrying swords, long swords. No other types of armor. But the one leader type that you've got laid out on the table here, you do actually find 50 gold pieces in his pouch. Nothing else seems of interest.
I will pocket about 25 of that, and I'll take the other 25 over. And do I see the barkeep anywhere?
At this point, no. It's pretty much nobody knows what's really going on yet. You don't see the barkeep. I
start shaking my donation bucket really loudly.
I'll give him the 5 copper.
So you're holding on to the 25.
I'm holding on to 25 and up, but I'm going to use the other. I'll walk over to you and I just say, I intend to pay the barkeep for all the mess.
Yes, very good.
So
I'll
25 once I get done figuring out what's going on.
Okay. Yeah, I just so I can mark down how much we're keeping, so that way I can keep track of that. That's all.
Yeah, I'm holding on to 5 right now. I'm going to give the other 25 to the barkeep as payment for the mess.
So I guess it would be after, like when he walks around the corner, because where's Winnie and the stranger? Are they kind of by the fireplace right now?
Yeah. They're right next to you, actually. They're right on your right.
Okay. So
on the map.
when Laura goes to like around the corner to the barkeep, like I'll walk up to the guys that are tied up, and then I'll drop that cheerful demeanor that I have, and I'll just kind of get just cold and dark, and I'll kind of pull out my dagger, and I'll push it up against the one guy's neck, just enough to like nick it, and then I'll just get really close to him and whisper in his ear, and I'll be like, "What is it that you want here, and what is your business?"
All right. Let me see here. Go to my notes. So you're basically intimidating him.
And while he's doing that, can I come up behind him and kind of assist him just by starting cleaning my longsword in front of him?
Okay, that's advantage.
All right. Sweet.
So make a intimidation strength. It's up to you. If you're going to use a lot of talk involved here, you'd use charisma. If it's just going to be all out brute.
I'll do charisma.
Okay.
11. Actually, can I use my inspiration on that and get a new roll?
Well, you already had advantage.
Yeah.
So it basically, when you have inspiration, the only thing it does is it gives you advantage. That's it. Okay. If you already have advantage, it's useless.
Okay. 11. All right, and with that, you get very little response. They're basically going zip. We'll tell you nothing. You can't get nothing out of us. I'll look over at Lore.
Here, you try. He just gave you advantage. Well, can't do that.
I'm looking at him, and I guess I would give the.
What's that?
That's Chris. I'll just have to.
Oh, Chris joined. All right.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Let's get our bearings. Let Chris get sorted out.
Hey, what's up, gang?
Hello.
Just in time, Chris. Go mute, and when you're all set, unmute, and we'll set you all up.
Okay.
We'll put you right in. Tell me when you're ready.
I just got off. I just rolled into the house, so I just wanted to kind of say hi to everybody, but I'm not going to be able to.
Oh, you sure?
So I didn't want to be a total bum and.
So you can't join the session yet?
No, I gotta get something to eat. I got an early morning tomorrow.
All right, that's fine. Well, what we'll do, I'll probably have another session, probably session 2 on the weekend. Probably Friday. Did you say Friday was good?
Yeah. All day, all night.
Look, I don't know if we'll go that long, but we'll try.
That's my availability.
But it seems to be a good time for everybody. James, how about you on Friday?
I have to check my schedule. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
If I'm not actively working, I'd at least be able to join you like I am now, on my phone or whatever.
All right. I think Friday is probably the best idea because there's 3 people and Chris hasn't played yet. If you can get in too, James, it'd be great. Get all 4 of us in the action. Now, one more thing, Chris. You had your meeting with this individual at the edge of the woods, if you remember.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, basically what happened is it was a very friendly, cordial meeting. It was good, but you felt the pull of your calling elsewhere. And with that, you said your adieus and you wandered off into the forest edge where you were doing your ritual. So that's where we left you at this point. Now, when you join in the next session, we'll see how that fits into this little story we're doing so far. But just to give you a heads up on where your character is at and what's going on. We didn't just put him in the background and have you be an NPC and die or anything.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's looking good. I got a great background for your character, and I think you're really going to have a good time with it.
Okay. All right. I appreciate all your work, and good to meet everybody.
All right.
Looking forward to working with you.
All right.
Yes. All right. Take care, Chris.
So yeah, I looked at Lore. You know, I've got that dagger pushed to his neck, and then I just kind of asked him, "What? How do you think I should give him a little more pressure? Or what do you think we should do here?"
Okay. GM question. Just if I give him advantage, do I have to wait a certain period of time before I can try anything else, or
you can try intimidating yourself right now if you want.
Okay. Well,
if you want to try a hand at it,
I'll jump down off the table, and I'll just get my longsword right up next to one of them, and just kind of like let him look at himself in the reflection, and just kind of close shave him, and be like, "You really need to tell us what you're doing here."
All right. Did you make your check?
Yeah. 15.
All right. The one individual that you're trying to impress here looks like he's pretty impressed. However, the information you get is pretty much he doesn't know anything. He knows that they were tracking, and he looks toward the stranger. For what ends, he doesn't know. You're just supposed to track her down. That's all he knows. And if anybody got in the way, they'd have to attack, basically, which is what they did. That's all you're gonna get from him as far as you can tell.
Okay. So I'll just kind of like point back to his now deceased employer. Who is he?
That guy, that's Cross. He's our boss. Was our boss.
Or
what?
Who do you work for?
Who does number 2 work for?
Basically, they give you the same thing. That guy that you killed and have laid sprawled out, that was their boss. His name was Cross. And they basically they do what he says. And as far as they know, they were just after this woman. And for what purposes, they don't know. They were supposed to track her down and bring her back. To where? They don't know. It was all Cross. He was the one you needed to talk to, not us.
I did talk to your boss, as you can tell. So I'll wave my sister over and have her kind of watch over the three of them. And I'll pull Father off to the side. And
Sorry.
Kind of like, they don't seem to know anything. Should we just let them go?
I'm kind of wondering if maybe we should hold on to them for the bit. And has your sister had an opportunity to talk to our strange friend yet? Do you know?
I'm sure she has, and I'm sure that she thinks now that she's traveling with royalty. So,
well, it's still I think might be worth. It might be worth. The stranger seems to have at least shown some element of trust in your sister. Maybe we can have your sister talk to her see maybe find out why she's being followed or chased. When I first approached her and I told her that strangers came into the tavern and took interest in her, her initial reaction was one of elation and joy. So I think she might actually be waiting for somebody, but obviously who found her first was not who she was hoping they would be.
Okay. I will whistle to the stranger and just kind of beckon her over.
Okay. She's a little bit shy, but she actually looks very grateful and ecstatic that you guys stood up for her. It's like she just, nobody's ever done that for her. And she pulls down the hood to reveal herself. Let's see. This won't let me have two pictures open. Okay. And this is what you see. And she's young. She's a very attractive looking woman. Obviously human.
Human, okay. Is she,
Did she come over?
Yes. She's very grateful for what you did. And like I said, she's quite surprised that you stood up for her the way you did. I got to put on my feminine voice here. I'm not really in the mood.
It's okay, Alan. You'll be fine.
I know.
Stop it.
But anyway, she...
I want my Frappuccino.
Oh, you stop. Just stop. Terrible. Just terrible. She's very grateful for what you did, and she asks you what she can do in return for this.
Zip. Who are you? And what do you do?
She...
Not a way to speak to a lady.
Who are you? And would you please tell us what...
I kind of lean over his shoulder at Winnie. I'm like, he's rather direct, isn't he?
It's great. Who are you? Speak, wench. I swear to God, this turns into Monty Python so many times. Anyway, yeah. She calls herself Naya.
Naya.
N-Y-A. And she's more than willing to tell you that she doesn't hail from these parts. She's been traveling for some 10 days, as a matter of fact, from the south, in the Smoulton Hills, which is a bit further south along the King's Road. So she's traveling north, basically. And she reveals that she's actually on her way to Zobik to be with friends. Her mother, which was her only parent, passed away recently. And that's her destination. She doesn't know who these individuals are that were tracking her and accosted her. She had no clue about them even following her. But it's pretty obvious that she's trying to conceal herself, conceal her traveling and such. But she doesn't know who these individuals are.
Does she have a family name?
That kind of information she won't reveal. She just goes by Naya.
Whom do you seek in Zobek? And where
Whom do you seek in Zobek? I'm sorry. I keep thinking of the Black Knight and Monty Python. None shall pass. Yep. The tone. It's all in the tone. Go ahead, Laura. What were you saying?
Whom do you seek in Zobek? And where do they live?
Well, that's the details are not for you to know, but it's just my friends. I mean, my family has passed away now. I have no father to speak of, and my mother passed away. So, Zobek I go. That's basically what she's saying.
Is that me and my sister hail from Zobek. we
Oh.
can guarantee you a safe place to stay.
I'd appreciate that, but I have to go alone. She looks reluctant to take any more help from anyone else, but she's gracious enough to thank you for the offer.
Okay. Is there any pen and paper nearby that I can see?
What do you mean? On
I'm
the
just looking for
tables or
something to write
something?
with. Yeah, I'm just looking for something to write with.
Are we doing this in character or is this real?
In character. In character.
Okay. Confused me, man. Pen and paper. There's a medieval setting here. Where'd they get pens? There you go. Quill and parchment. Pen and paper. Wow. Don't screw with your DM. Come on.
I'm just looking for something to write with.
Well, you could ask around. There's no writing utensils laying about.
Are you asking aloud, or are you just looking around right now?
I'll generally put out the statement that I'm looking for something to write with.
Hold on, and I reach into my pack and I tear off a little scrap of parchment and I sit down at the table and I pull out my little ink bottle and I pull out my pen and I uncork it and I kind of dip it in and you take against it to get out the extra ink, and then I look up and what would you wish me to describe?
I'm writing a letter to my sister. What's her name? Zin.
What's her name?
Your other sister? Okay. So this will be to Zilria? Xillyra?
My dearest Zilria.
Not dearest, just
Yeah.
Loving sister.
If this person finds you and hands you this letter, give her a room to stay and make sure that she's well taken care of. Signed, Lord.
Signed. And then I produce a little bit of wax, and then I take my signet ring and I press it into it. Scribed by blah blah blah, Duke of Worley. And I roll it up, and then tie a piece of twine around it. And then I hand it to Lore.
And I will hand it to her. If you make your way to the city and you arrive unharmed, give this to my sister at the Gentle Dock Inn. She will take care of you.
Oh, you're talking to me.
I'm talking to her. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, she gratefully accepts it, and she takes it and tucks it away. And she says, I surely will. Thank you. Thank you so much. What else can I do for you?
When you get there, can you ask her about the zombies?
The zombies?
Don't.
I guess. I'll make a note of it.
My father, Marcus Woodhouse. He was formerly a Griffin Knight. He may be able to help you sort out this mess.
Can I do what would it be? Can I do an insight to see if maybe in her explanations and all this stuff, if maybe she was, not letting on to everything.
What's your modifier?
0.
You're fairly confident that she's being honest. She's being upfront about what she's saying.
Right. Other than she's not being forthcoming with her family name.
Yeah, that's one thing you can't be certain. It's quite possible she doesn't have one that she knows of. She looks like she's in her mid-20s, or early 20s even. She looks pretty young. And as far as you know, she's pretty much no parents, no family. Her mom died, knows nothing of her father, and she's traveling north to Zobik to be with friends. Thanks to your die roll, you notice that she says of her kind.
Taking a look at her, like the manner in which she is dressed, is she dressed like like a wealthy person would be dressed in like traveling gear, or is she more of a commoner type?
I wouldn't say commoner in the sense that she looks poor, but commoner in the sense that she looks like a typical traveler. She's not in a dress or a gown or anything. She's in high boots and all that.
Okay.
And she looks like she's a traveler.
Okay.
She's in travel gear with a big cloak. And she carries a little dagger. Nothing else stands out. She looks pretty much like a normal human being. It's just you personally noted that she said of her kind. What that means is up to you.
So Lortorn is finished conversing with her. I bid her well, and I turn back to our three friends who I'm sure are getting more and more uncomfortable by the second, staring at their dead boss.
Right. And as you do this, from around the corner, you see an individual dressed in robes, off-white colored robes with gold and brown fringe. And I think I got a picture of him. Yeah, I do. This guy comes whipping around the corner from the steps. You heard him coming down. Says, my friends, are you hurt?
I'm okay.
Surely I offer healing.
A little bit
I offer
less
healing.
sure where.
If you need the help, I'm here to help you. By Lada's grace, I am here to help.
I've had a few scratches. I could use some mending.
Okay, and with that, he rushes towards you and he takes a look at your wounds, and you gain 5 hit points back.
Okay.
You feel energized, and by the mercy of Lada, you are healed.
Lada.
I will thank him.
Lada is one of the you would know this lore.
Okay.
Let me think if you would as well. Fythern. For some reason, I forgot almost all of your background for the wizard, and I just wrote it like a week ago. I've been writing so much, actually, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But you would know this too, I'm sure. You'd all know this, that Lada is one of the main gods currently being worshipped popular in the Crossroads. And he's happy to explain actually the details of Lada. She's a goddess. She's a protector of children and farmers, and she's a very protective goddess, and a good goddess, and one of healing, in fact, and protection. And this individual who calls himself Gaius the Pious, and he's obviously elf-touched. You can see it in his movements and in his ears, and also in his voice, which is somewhat melodic, as you can tell. And he heals you. So if you need some healing, here you go.
Yeah, I'll take a spot.
Okay. In Elvish, I will say thank you very much.
You get 3 hit points back. And he bows to you, and he thanks you for the opportunity to help you.
Well, friend, maybe this is not the only opportunity that we could partake in. And I grab my bucket. Perhaps, understanding that you wish to help the downtrodden and such, perhaps we can work to better in Lada's good graces.
And with that, he looks at you and he looks up at you, Fythern, and gives you a smirk and pulls out his own little tub and goes, touche, shika, 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 shika.
Yes. Perhaps we can combine our resources.
I'm just going to stare at them and just shake my head and go back to the problem at hand.
Winnie, make a perception. Wisdom perception.
Where's my stuff? 5.
Yep.
Noticed her feet.
She has painted toenails.
Distracted by the dueling coin shakers.
Yeah. You also notice that Phythorn has painted toenails. Yeah, that's about it. You go shoeless, don't you, Phythorn?
Yeah, open-toed traveling boots.
Little smileys painted on your toenails.
While they're getting healed by him, can I turn to Naya and just give her 5 gold pieces? And I want to say, I know how hard it is for a daughter to lose her mother. I hope these help you on your travels.
That's awesome. What's your alignment?
Chaotic good.
Okay. She says you're too gracious, and she's somewhat hesitant at first, but she definitely accepts it. She basically comes off as somebody who's, she looks kind of desperate, and her plight is definitely noticeable. It's a sad situation, and the fact that these people were after her and attempted to abduct her, and you stood up to them, she's very, very grateful for. And if she had more to give, she would give. That's the sense that you get. So basically, a rundown of this situation, the Sleepy Willow. You got in here, you saw this stranger who just made you think about things differently. And she was almost abducted. You stood up for this stranger. You fended them off. You slaughtered the one guy. God almighty. But you got some healing in return, and you've got a grateful person who you saved, and it looks pretty good. So if there's anything else you'd like to do here at the inn, everything is returning to normal at this point. The bodies have been taken out. The prisoners are now outside of the inn, and they are still wound up near a wagon. You're kind of holding them hostage there, so you'll have to decide what you're going to do with them at this point.
Did the bar come back?
The owner of the place is named Ebron, and his wife is basically the woman that you saw before, the bigger woman with the bun. And from what you can tell from talking to him is that usually maybe once a week there are patrols from Zobik or from the larger towns in the south that might pass through. And that's really the only way things like criminals or crimes are adjudicated and things are taken care of, and people like this are brought to justice. Well, so for the time being, there's really some confusion as what to do with these individuals you've got tied up. It'll probably be some days before the next patrol comes through and they can be taken away. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You go. Finish up.
From what else you can gather from this and talking with the people here, Gillum the Pious, for instance, he's on his way south, actually on a pilgrimage to the town of Bridal, which is a place you've heard of, and it lies basically to the south where you're basically heading. It's the way you've been traveling.
What was the name of the town?
Bridal, Bridle, Bridal.
Okay.
I'll go up to what's his name, Gillum?
Gillum. Gilum. Gillum.
I'll walk up to Gillum and ask him, Gillum, you're a holy man, yes? You travel with the graces of Lana?
Lada.
Lada?
Lada.
Be so kind as to escort this woman to Zobek?
Oh, I don't know if I could do that. I'm on a pilgrimage. I'm heading to Bridal. If I was going north.
Collection bucket.
Ching, 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 ching. Well,
It would be something that Lada would want.
Mm. He
I'll
kind
drop
of
the-
pauses and thinks about that. And he kind of looks at you, and he definitely needs some, what's the word for it? Donations, let's say.
I'll
Would
drop
help him
some
on his
gold
way
in.
because he's actually coming from the north, and you're asking him to go back.
I will drop a complete total with everything of 5 gold pieces into his bucket.
To go north, you mean?
To take and escort her to Zobek safely.
Who the Naya
Gil-
or the other?
Gil, I want to give him 5. I want to give Gillen 5 gold pieces to escort Naya back to Zobek. Or to Zobek.
But you know, can I catch his attention real quick and Lord Winnie, can I have a moment of your time?
Yeah.
I'll go over with him.
So, you know, pull ourselves in a discreet way. This is kind of the feeling that I'm thinking right now. She's not. I don't think she is as simple as she's letting herself on to be. I think there's something more to her. Either a family heir to something, or she's running off with something, and other people are trying to hunt her down. I think this is deeper than just a simpler traveler being waylaid in.
That might be the case, but we cannot return to Zobek as of this moment.
Well, perhaps Zobek doesn't necessarily need to be a destination. Can we see the map real quick, Ellen?
Can you see it?
No, but I still got Gillum.
Let me close them. Maybe it's interfering. It should pop up. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm trying to see if I
man.
can find it on. So we're gonna pull it up on Facebook because you put it up on Facebook, right?
Yep, it's there, right at the top.
Let me. What's the name of the Facebook thingy?
Midgard.
Rogues? Midgard.
No, that's the other one.
Midgard.
You stop.
All right. There it is. Oh, okay. So Sleepy Willow is the northernmost point on this map. So this place that you're talking about, it's points further north. Off of the map to Zobek. Okay.
To the north.
Kind
of the biggest city in the area.
Sure. I'm just wondering if maybe we should convince her to not go to Zobek. Because she's just going to keep getting waylaid no matter where she goes.
That's why we send the Pious with her.
I'm sorry, what? You kind of cut out a little
That's
bit.
why we send Gillen the Pious with her. She's protected. He can watch out for her, keep her from getting into trouble.
I don't know about you, but Gillum the Pious doesn't necessarily strike me as the type to protect very well. There's something more to her that I think is worth pursuing.
What if we took her by Zobek? Got her within half a day's walk, let her go on her way. That gives us enough time to talk to her, maybe gain her trust, find out some information. But at least we can get her safely to the city. Once she's to the city, she can find my sister in the Dark District, stay at the inn, and she'll be well protected.
That would be a reasonable agreement, I think.
But we cannot go back to the city right now.
Well, your business is your own, that's for sure. That I'm not trying to ingratiate into that, but I do think we would be remiss in letting her go.
But if they found her here, what's to say they don't know she's going there and they won't be waiting for her there?
Even if she goes to Zobek, we can tell my father that she's in trouble and the Griffin Riders can take care of her. He still holds some sway. Besides, father alone would be more than enough to protect her. Fought for almost 40 years. Very well. I'm not moving on an empty night's sleep. I'm tired. And we have 3 people outside to deal with, and we need to make a decision on how we're going to deal with them. Personally, I'm in favor of stripping them naked and then letting them march off into the forest, but
you would not get any objections from me on that.
okay. So I'm just gonna walk out and just one by one let them go and force them to strip down to their skins and just send them packing off into the forest.
Brilliant.
I was just gonna know if I catch whiff of you, if I see you, if I hear anything suspicious and it's involving you, remember your boss.
Oh, yes, we will. We will. Thank you, sir. And they strip down to their nothings, and they make a quick retreat. Actually, they run down the road in the dark at this point, so it's not exactly the safest thing for them to be doing, but they look pretty eager to get out of Dodge at this point.
Get out of Dodge.
So,
While he's braiding them, I'm going to ask Winnie. I'm going to ask, Naya seemed to, if not trust you or take a liking to you, she seemed to be willing to follow your lead. Is there possibly could you talk to her to see if you can get more information out of her, or see what she's planning on doing or anything like that, or if there's any way that we could glean more information so that way she can help stop these attacks against her?
I can try super. Okay, where is Naya?
All right, well, the night is just about coming. Things are just getting straightened out. Lauren is seeing these fellows off in the front, and it's dark. There's still about 6 patrons at this point. Most of them are pretty much on their way out of the building because of what happened. She's still there. She's still at the hearth with you guys. She hasn't left at this point. But she does say that she has her own room upstairs. She intends to leave in the morning to Zobek, and she's staying the night here.
Okay.
And of course, you guys have a room as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to ask her to come sit at a table with me for a minute.
She has no problem with that.
Okay, then I'm going to say, okay, girl to girl, what kind of friend are you dating in Zobek?
Family friends. I have friends there. They'll help me since I don't have a home anymore. Traveled most of my life from town to town anyway, so it's no big issue with me. But I have friends in Zobek. It is, as you know, one of the biggest cities in all the crossroads. So it's the best place for me to be anyway.
10%. So it's not like a friend?
Friend? What do you mean? A friend is a friend. They're good family friends. Good family friends.
I think she's meaning like a guy friend or that kind of friend.
Hey, real quick, I'm gonna step away real quick and put my kids to bed. I'll be back shortly.
Okay, James, take your time. Go ahead. What were you saying? Winnie?
I don't know.
If you want, go ahead and make I think a couple things would be useful here. For one thing, if you want to try and persuade her one way or the other, use your persuasion. If you want to read behind her words and read her mannerisms and kind of get a sense of what she's talking about. Is she being real? Is she being upfront? Is she hiding something? Go ahead and make a insight. It's a wisdom insight check. And I'll actually make the roll for you. I'm doing all this talking here. I make the roll. But tell me what the modifier is for your wisdom insight.
It's a +0.
Well, you spent quite a bit of time, about 10 minutes actually talking to her, getting to know her and all this stuff. And you definitely get the sense that she's trying really hard to be upfront and honest with you, but there's something about it. Something just does not click with you. Something about it. You can't put your finger on it, but there's definitely something odd about her and this situation that she can't get out. Either she's holding back or she doesn't know and she feels like she can't get it out, but there's something odd. It's kind of like when you first entered the Sleepy Willow Inn. What was the first thing that hit you? How odd she was, how different she was just by her looks and her presence there. Well, talking with her for the 10 plus minutes you've been talking with her, you're getting an even stronger sense that there is something really odd about this person. Not that she's weird and crazy, but just something is just, the vibe is strange to you. That's the sense you get.
I want to ask if it's not too much, could you tell me what happened to your mother?
Okay, let me check my notes here. Ooh, notes. Winnie hit on something. No. All right, wait, what was that again? Sorry.
Okay, she said if it's
More
not
about her family or mom?
yeah, what happened to her mom?
Her mother, from what she explains, her mother basically just passed away. It wasn't like a crime scene or anything like that. She just passed away. She was older. She was in her late 50s and natural causes is what she tells you anyway. And she will tell you also that, and she kind of hinted at this before, mentioned it, that her mother is the only person she's known. And they traveled all across the crossroads. You know, they never stayed too long in any particular place. And kind of because she felt like, she's not really sure about this, but she felt like they were always pursued, or her mother was being very protective of her. And she never fully understood why. In her mind, she was so protective, and why they had to travel and leave so often. And they never talked about her father. So she knows nothing about that aspect of her life, just that her mother was always there for her and protected her and kept her safe. They traveled all the time until she passed away. And at this point, she felt she couldn't stay where she was, and she had to go where she felt she had friends that she could be with and feel safe with. But she's not really sure why. She doesn't, but she knows that she has this urge to leave, to go. In this case, the Zobik. That's what you get from it.
are you only going to Zobik because of your friend, or is that where you really feel you need to go?
She just says it's her friends. That's traveling so much. She doesn't make too many friends, but she knows that she has friends in Zobik. Keeping in mind, Zobik, as you know, it's the biggest city in the Crossroads.
Yeah.
It's the hub of everything and everyone, cultural and otherwise. So, she could be right about that.
Okay. If she'll tell me, ask what their names are. Any of her friends, even if it's just one name.
So you want to dig into her family a little bit, right? Well, try as you might. That's when it comes to getting personal and deep like that into her family and her background, she gets very hesitant and protective. She doesn't really reveal anything of that nature. It's like she only gives her first name, which is Nia, which as far as you know, that's the only name she has, but you can't get anything else out of her. She won't talk about her mother. At this point, Lauren steps forward, unsheathes his sword, and intimidates. Reveal, woman. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Monty Python creeping in.
I want to let her know that I hope she sees us as friends now, and that if she would, we would be willing to help her in any other way than we did tonight.
Oh, was that last part?
That we'd be willing to help her in any other way other than just help her.
Lauren, where are you in this conversation? You're kind of distant. You're not part of this, right?
No, I had just finished up taking care of our friends outside. And if I come back in, I want to find the barkeep and just pass him 15 gold to kind of pay for the cleanup and everything.
Okay. So getting back to the conversation with Winnie, she's very grateful, and she connects with you in a way when she looks at you, and she reaches into her blouse and she pulls out something, and she reaches for your hand with her left hand, and she puts something in it, and you can feel the cold metal in your hand. And as she takes her hand away, you can see that she's left you a gold necklace with a small little trinket on the end, a trinket in the shape of kind of like a triangle with a slash through it. It's something you don't recognize initially, but it's all solid gold, or well, it's gold colored. And she leaves that in your hand, and then she looks up at you and she says, I am really grateful for what you've done. I will not forget it. And if you ever come back to Zobik, I will be there, and look for me. And keep this until then. And then she reaches up to your hand and she closes your fist around the necklace.
Okay.
And she says, this is for you to keep. Hold on to this. And when I see you again, show me that you still have it. And with that, she gets up from the table. I believe you were sitting at a table. And she slides the chair back and she gives her last farewells to everybody that's in the room currently. And I leave in the morning, and I thank you again. And if I see you again in the morning, I'm gracious. And she'll go up to the steps and go up to her room.
Okay.
At that point, you see Gillum the Pious racing about trying to heal people. There's nobody left to heal. He gets frustrated and pulls out his big jug, starts shaking it. Shink, 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 shink. No, I'm just kidding there. But go ahead.
Before Lauren kind of leaves, I'll call Father and I'll go over to Windsera. and I'll pull out 20 of the gold pieces that I got off the one guy, and I'll give him 10 each. Keep 10 to myself.
Okay, and they're grateful for that.
Yeah.
So
Damages.
work the math again.
Okay, so I started out with 50, and I was going to give 25 to the barkeep, but I only decided to give him 15, and I gave 5 to Yolan the Pious.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then there was 30 left over, so I split it up 3 ways.
Yeah, I'm following you.
Okay.
So. And now I'm tired, and I really want to go to bed. So, Lord Horn, just beeline straight for the bedroom.
All right. What are your plans, Phythrin?
Is Winnie still there?
Yeah.
She is.
So again, because I stepped away, so I'll ask her to recount. Was there anything else that you were able to glean? Is this worth pursuing, or shall we let her to her peace?
All she really told me is that her mother died of natural causes, and they were traveling always, so she'd never made friends except for these ones in Zobek. And that's why she's going there. And she gave me this, and I'll show him the necklace to see if he knows what.
Can I make a check to see if the type of symbol means anything or anything like that?
Well, what would you like to do? You could use religion, possibly.
Does it look like a religious talisman or any of that nature? Or history, maybe?
Yeah, possibly history. Go ahead and make well, they're all under intelligence. Go ahead and make it. If you have proficiency in one of them, go ahead and use it. Otherwise, it's a straight up intelligence test anyway. I'll let you use history, religion.
I'm gonna use my inspiration to get a reroll on that. I rolled even worse, so never mind.
Absolutely nothing. It's fake gold.
Yeah, man, that's a cheap trinket.
That's about it.
I think it's time to retire this die. That didn't work very well for me this weekend either.
Throw them.
Okay, well, what about you then? What is your, where are you and your brother going to?
We're just going south.
Well, I happen to be going in the same direction. Do you mind if I tag along?
I don't mind. But I'm not sure about him. He's weird.
Well, perhaps we can retire for the evening and then we can reconvene in the morning over breakfast.
Yeah, of course.
All right, with that, I bid her good night and I go up to my room to call it a night.
Did you deduct your money? I don't think you did, James.
No, I didn't. What? How much was it again?
I think it's 5 silver pieces. Let me double check.
Okay.
I don't know. Because me and my sister should be good for food and stuff during our stay. So.
It is.
Yeah, I know.
Where is it? Oh, for one night, staying in a bedroom with it. Each of the rooms upstairs has like 3 or 4 beds in it. Mm-hmm. But one of those rooms, which are comfortable rooms, they are 5 silver pieces a night.
Is that for the solitary room or for the group room?
Well, they're all group rooms.
Oh, they're all group rooms. Okay. How much would it be to get a whole, rent the whole room? Would it just be to rent every single bed
You just rented every single bed.
with 5 silver?
Yes.
5 silver rents every single bed. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, it's like this:
Now,
if they become crowded, you might have a visitor come in. In other words, if there's a lot of people in the place that night, somebody else might be sharing the room with you because there's no other beds, because there's 3 and 4 in each room. There is more pricey bedrooms. They're bigger and they have a double bed and possibly a second bed. But that's
what I would spend. How much are those?
Oh, okay. You want one of those, huh? That is going to cost you, I believe, 1 gold piece.
Yep, I would totally spend that for that.
Much larger room.
So it doesn't do the auto math for money. I just realized that.
Mm.
You have to kind of do it yourself.
So you got your own room all to yourself. There's nobody in there with you.
Okay.
And Lauren and Winnie, you have your a little bit smaller room, but there's more beds. So there's like, you get 3 beds in the room, so you get a spare bed. So it's a good sleep.
And I want to make sure that I wake up right before dawn, right before the sun peaks.
Okay, not a problem. Okay, is there anything else you want to do here? Everything kind of calms down after a few hours of this. You run off those guys. The Bortles are back in action, although they're kind of closing up shop. And the customers are all leaving the place. You do know that there's at least Gilliam, the pious, staying upstairs in his own room, as well as Naya. You don't know of any others in the place outside of this spell slinger you encountered earlier today, named Phythern. That's about it. Was there anything else you wanted to do? You'll have a good night's sleep otherwise. As I roll.
I guess just to know before I go to sleep and when I get into my room, I take out a fine piece of silver wire and I string it across my room and I cast alarm as a ritual.
Is that what Caleb does on Critical Role?
Yeah.
That's cool. Here we go. That's funny. Okay, so
that's the material component is a tiny bell and a piece of fine wire, so that's why he says it.
It works. All right, so that's it then. The evening will pass if that's it.
Does that give us a long rest?
I'll give you a long rest. So you get all your hit points back, and you didn't use your hit dice at all for short rests, so everything should be back fine and dandy.
Okay. So since I'm waking up just before dawn, that will be to go outside and I will look. Is it a sunny day? Is it clear enough to where I can see the sun?
It's a nice sunny day. You can tell.
I will
sunrise.
Sun. I will pull my longsword out and I will kneel. I will say my morning prayers to Kors, asking for protection and thanking him for bringing me through my most recent battle, and pray for blessings and protection for the day.
There you go.
And
the rooster crows in the distance.
That'll be my daily ritual, my morning ritual anyway.
All right. Yeah, sunrise comes up. It's going to be a beautiful morning, another day's travel. And from what you can gather, if you look at the map that I have on the screen or the map that you can get on Facebook, if you don't have it, James. But from where you are setting, the main road continues south. It's called the King's Road, of course. It's the main road. It can head south and actually continues north from Zobek as well. It's a pretty long road. And in these parts, it's known as the King's Road. Now, if you look at the map, you notice there's all kinds of little symbols and and names of things and places that you've never been before, but you have heard about. And everything on this map represents those rumors, those things you've heard. So when you look over this map as players, feel free to ask about them. Like, what is that big dragon there flying over the Plathander Hills? What's that about? Or what's that little chasm symbol or the mining symbol? What's
Hey,
up
what
in
is
that
that
direction?
dragon over the Plathander Hills?
Oh, I just put that on there. That's nothing. But yeah, take hints from the map. So it's not all just there for looks. It could actually mean something or not. So, and you'll also notice on the map, there is a smaller path which leads from the Sleepy Hollow kind of to the southeast, and it leads to Tuxborough.
Tuxborough.
Right.
Tuxborough. Okay.
To the Marguerite. Go ahead.
What does Lord Torn know about Bridal?
Absolutely nothing. You could make an intelligence test, history or whatever you would like.
I'd say probably just history, just growing up in Zobek, reading about certain things throughout the years.
All right, what's your modifier?
For intelligence, 0.
You haven't traveled much out of Zobek. I mean, you have pretty much the outskirts, and you know quite a bit about Zobek itself. But as far as that, anywhere else outside of that, you really don't have a lot of knowledge in history or otherwise. And actually, the first time you've ever heard of Bridal was probably when you reached the Sleepy Hollow, or Sleepy Willow. Sorry, but yeah, you really don't know much about it at all.
Okay.
If the rest of you'd like to make checks on it, feel free to do so. It's an intelligence check.
I missed the question. What was the question?
If you know anything about Bridal.
Oh, okay.
I'll do a check.
Okay, use whatever you want. Religion, history.
I know squat. I know where my feet are. That's about it.
History would.
Actually, I should make the roll.
Yeah.
Let me do it for
all right.
you guys. Hold on. You have no modifier, James?
For history is +3.
Okay. Winnie, what's your modifier? +5?
+3.
+3.
+3.
Okay. But this is for both of you. But you've definitely heard about Bridal. It's probably one of the larger towns when you first head south from Zobek. There aren't many towns, but Bridal is one of the bigger ones you've heard of. It's not particularly big. There might be maybe 1,000 people in it, so it's not really a big town, but it's one of the bigger ones if you head south. You do know that. And what did you use, Winnie? History?
History, yeah.
I think you
Same
both
for
used
me.
history. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do know that there was, you did hear in the past that there was a mercenary leader, let's call him, who basically founded Bridal. And he was quite well known in Zobek and in the Crossroads. And he retired, and he basically is responsible for Bridal being settled. It was basically an encampment where a lot of his troops, his mercenary band, would train. And he actually built a fortress there before he retired, where not only would he train his men, but it was basically a headquarters, you can say, where he could actually be hired. Something that's uncommon among mercenaries because they tend to wander a lot. But shortly before he retired, he built this fortress, let's call it. And that became the hub of the town of Bridal. Of course, all the camp followers that followed him about as they traveled fighting their wars and battles and whoever hires them. These camp followers settled around this fortress. And that's where Bridal has come from. Basically, it was founded by a mercenary. And that's what you can tell. Both of you. Lauren, you know absolutely nothing. Zilch. You're learning from your sister tonight, brother.
I had more important things to do than read that many books.
So, with Lauren and Winnie there, are the two of you together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I will have ordered breakfast by now.
yeah, I suppose I will have too.
Oh, you guys wake up in the morning. Lauren went out and did his prayers long before breakfast was served, but you can definitely smell the breads and the meats wafting up for the customers that are there early for breakfast and the people that are patrons there sleeping in the rooms. You come down and you grab your table, and the meals, unfortunately, you do have to pay for. They're not included in there, but I think you actually paid for enough, actually, Lauren. So you're good for a meal. But James, I can't think of your character's name. Fythern. Fythern, you'll have to pay the extra if you want to do some eating. But when you do come downstairs, you find Lauren, and he's all getting ready for his big breakfast before he treks off. And you also see Gilliam, and you don't see Naya.
How much is the breakfast?
Give me a silver. Give me a silver.
All right. Bam. There you go.
1/10 of a gold.
I'll nod next to Lauren. You mind if I sit?
I'll consent.
Spoke with your sister last night, and she mentioned that the two of you are heading south. I'm generally heading that direction. Do you have a problem if I join you?
I don't care. Sister?
I already told him that it was okay with me.
Sure.
Very well. I suppose it might be worth going to Bridal. And do you have an ultimate goal, or are you just traveling?
We need to go someplace with important people.
We need to go someplace where we can find work so I can make money. So I can pay for my sister.
No, we just need to find important people.
We don't need important people.
Well, I suppose from what I know of Bridal, that might be a first place to stop. It's a fairly large town, not as large as Zobek for sure, but it's at least large enough in the region that we might be able to get some leads on some important people and whatnot. And I know there's some pretty interesting areas around the town that I wouldn't mind investigating for my own means.
Okay with that.
GM, real quick, what happened to the weapons that we confiscated last night? Do we still have those?
You do.
Okay.
You probably left them outside.
What were they? Short swords, or what were they?
If I said my prayers, I'll just
Long
bundle
swords.
those up.
Oh, okay.
I'll just bundle those up and just kind of, and if anything, we can sell these swords at least. Get a little extra coin.
You have 3 long swords, and you do have 3 sets of crude leather armor.
Yeah, I don't care about. Oh, we'll just take it all. We'll just sell it once we get there. But
okay, everybody. Yeah, I'm going to let you guys roll. Roll either a persuasion or a perception. Roll a charisma persuasion or a wisdom perception. And tell me your rolls.
Perception.
I'm gonna do perception.
I'm gonna do persuasion as well.
And it's 24 altogether.
Jeez. I had a 13 on my persuasion.
I had a 4.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I barely found my feet that time.
Okay. As you spend your time before you leave, having a wonderful, wonderful breakfast, all kinds of breads and bacons and all that good stuff, good fresh foods. There is a number of people in the establishment who are also having their breakfast. In fact, there's probably about a dozen people you've noticed as you sit there for a good 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour before you head off. And there's a lot of chatter. A lot of people are amazed about the events from last night, this big fight and big battle. And some of the people have come up to you and asked you about that. And who are you? You guys are like heroes. That's pretty cool. Who were they? And all this other stuff. And as you banter about and hear conversations and so on and so forth, you did pick up a few little bits of information about the surrounding area that you're traveling in, just out of interest. For example, you've heard a rumor that there's undead spirits inhabiting a place called the Haunt. There's been some talk about that. You also heard about, here's one that's pretty knee-jerking. Since you are traveling, there's word that there is a pretty nasty ogre who lately has been setting up ambushes along the King's Road, asking for money before they'll let him pass, basically a toll. That's another little rumor you heard about. And finally, you've heard tales of Shadow Fae moving within the Margrave Forest.
I'm curious
Lots
about
of Shadow Fae.
Go
ahead.
What kind of rumors? Like, are they talking about like large movement, short movement? Like, is it a large force of Shadow Fae or just a small band of Shadow Fae?
Well, the rumor is exactly this. Shadow Fae are running rampant within the Margrave Forest. Take that the way you want. So those are some of the things you've heard talked about while you're having your breakfast here at the Sleepy Willow.
Would I know what Shadow Fae is?
You would. You've heard of them. Shadow Fae are basically elves, although not everyone considers them to be elves. Some consider them tainted elves. I don't want to say drow because they're not drow. Trust me.
Sure.
They dwell in what's called the shadow realm. You know how you walk about in the material realm? Well, there's a shadow realm as well. And it kind of mimics the material realm. And there's paths all through Midgard where you can actually travel across the Shadowlands. And the Shadow Fae dwell there. They have their own kingdoms and everything. And they're pros when it comes to traveling along these, let's call them ley lines. And they're able to bounce in and out of the material plane and the shadow plane. Some say at will. Who knows? But yeah, that's what you've heard of them. I won't give you any more details, but that's pretty much common knowledge. I mean, there's actually Shadow Fae that live in Zobik. You know, they're not necessarily evil, but they're not necessarily good either.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, from what I've read in the World Book, there tend to be more on the new stuff in Zobik.
Okay.
And I'll give you another opportunity. If you'd like to ask anything from the patrons, feel free to do so.
I will ask them for a donation.
Yes, you will.
War Orphaned.
All right, give me a performance check.
And
unless you want to intimidate.
No. I'm trying to.
I want to give an advantage on that. I would have just walked around.
Gonna help him? You gonna help him?
Only if he was doing intimidation.
No.
Go ahead, give me a performance test.
Yeah, I am pulling. I'm tugging at their heartstrings to, you know.
Well, there's more than one way to tug a heartstring.
Oh man, I am horrible at this.
No, I'm good. I need to play good.
What'd you get?
7.
Yeah, you get pretty much turned away at every time you pull that little bucket out.
Which
So
I think is par for the course for me. I mean, I'm used to this kind of disappointment. It's you know, I'm almost to the point where I'm ready to give up on this gimmick and try something new.
you manage 1 copper piece. Add it to your
Lord Horn will ask about Bridal and see if there's anything of interest there from the locals.
Well, what are you asking? Just anything?
Asking about work or what kind of shops they have, anything interesting like that. You know, working shops. If they have a blacksmith or a metalworking shop there.
What are you doing? Get out of here. Well, Bridal being one of the bigger places around, you do know that there's several places of note that are worthy of visiting or exploring. It's pretty well known for the Holy Shield Monastery, which is basically where a lot of pilgrims go. Anyone that worships Lada.
Well, I could get a lot of donations there.
Yeah, maybe you could. But the Holy Shield Monastery is pretty prominent there. It's probably one of the biggest buildings in the town. And it's probably the main religion there. Actually, Lada is very popular all through the crossroads. But that's one place that they have in Bridal that's worthy of note. There's also somebody known to be a great worker of magics, but there's not much else known about him. His name is Abistaller Hem. And he's a well-known spellcaster in the area. So if you're looking to delve in that area, that's a pretty prominent place to look. There's blacksmiths, a couple blacksmiths. There is a pretty well visited market square. A lot of the people that travel the King's Road are merchants. A lot of them heading in the south. A lot of them coming from the south to Zobik. And there's a lot of traffic from merchants. And passing through Bridal or any major town like Bridal, there's going to be a market square where merchants will set up shop for the day. Or if there's a festival or something going on. And incidentally, this month there is none. So you don't worry about that. But there is a market square there, and you can pretty much buy anything you want for a small town. That's mainly because of the fact that there's so many merchants that travel this time of year through Bridal.
Okay. One more thing I'll ask is if there's any like temples or shrines to Horse.
No, not that you know of. Not to Kors. Lada is like the main temple in Bridal. I can't even be sure there's any others, but that's the main one that it's known for.
Okay. I don't know if there was maybe a little one set up somewhere or not, but okay.
Winnie, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I want to pull out the signet ring that I took when I was a kid.
Okay.
And I want to see if maybe anyone here can tell where it's from.
Let's see. Well, there's plenty of people to show it to, but most of them are kind of locals and farmers. You kind of get the feeling that probably not going to get good success with that. And pretty much nobody knows anything. They never saw such a thing other than it's pretty nice. That's cool. I like it. But no.
Okay. That's all.
Doesn't stand out for anybody. Now, this is that ring that's in your backstory, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No. However, when you pull it out, Fythern's eyes lighten up. my God. No.
Is it the same ring?
It's the same ring.
You got yours out of a Cracker Jack box too?
Oh, terrible, terrible, terrible.
No, we do not get it from a jack of
You
crackers.
don't even know about it.
I'm joking.
So there you go. Your choices at this point are pretty simple. You've got your information. You learned quite a bit about the area. Well, a little bit of it anyway. You know there's a path leading to Tuxborough, and you know the King's Road goes on to a bigger town called Bridle.
How far of a walk is Bridal? How many days?
I think it's precisely 24 miles, so it's a day's walk. 1 day away.
Well,
I'm
get myself ready to travel after breakfast and look to my companions. And are we leaving?
Was there any information as to where that supposed ogre, like what point of the road he was hitting, like where it was in relation to us?
Well, there's no specifics regarding that. It could be a place up behind you to the north, or it could be further south. But it's somewhere, maybe within a day's journey away. So it could be to the south, anywhere along the King's Road. That's where it's rumored to be.
Well, I think we have enough information to help us find
So
what
your
we
next-
need and be aware. So
your next decision is basically, okay, do we head off to the west into the Plathander Hills just for the hell of it? Or do we head south to Tuxborough or south to the Bridle, or go anywhere you want?
Go
I
to
think Bridal.
Yeah.
I think we were in agreement.
Okay, you're all set. And we could take you down to Bridle right now. If that's where you're going. Last
Yep.
chance.
Yep.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, off you go. You set off on your
And the first day.
foot journey after your little battle. Now you did take the long swords and armor, right?
Yeah. I kind of distributed it between the three of us just so it's a little bit easier to carry. But it's just wrapped up. We're just going to try and sell it for whatever we can get out of it.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
just sling it on my pack.
Okay. You make your move to Bridle. And wait a minute, did you figure out what you're doing with Gillum?
Yeah, I just kind of forgot about Gillum during the night and just don't care anymore.
Did you give him money? You didn't give him money, did you?
I gave him 5 gold pieces, but that was it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
At this point,
All right.
what everyone else does is what everyone else does. I'm going south.
All right. Well, he was there at breakfast as well. He's basically on his way south as well. But again, you didn't see Naya. She was nowhere to be seen. But off you go. You're heading south along the King's Road. And it'll be a good 8+ hours of travel. So leaving in the morning, you'll get there about mid-afternoon, thereabouts. Plenty of time. It's pretty uneventful, the journey, thankfully for you guys. It's only a day's travel. And you see plenty of farms on the side of the roads, especially as you get closer towards Bridle. As you can see on the map, if you look at it, you'll see that's symbolized with the little farms. And that's pretty much what you see. It doesn't look like dangerous terrain at all. And of course, the woods as well that it cuts through. And eventually you find yourself coming upon Bridle itself. And you can feel the excitement. Finally, we're getting somewhere. This big place called Bridle. Let's check this out. And the first thing you notice as you travel along the road and get closer and closer and closer to this town is you do see this ledge that stands prominent. Time for a new map.
Ooh. Whoa. That's interesting.
I do not see it.
Now, you're not seeing the maps for some reason.
No, hold on, but you know what? I've got my computer available. I might sign on with my computer and join that way. I might be able to see it better through that.
Do
So
it.
keep talking, and I'll beat up my
All right.
computer.
I'll keep the map up. Anyway, welcome to Bridal. You have arrived. Along this road here to the north, you can see it. That's the King's Road. Let me get this map down a little bit. Yeah, one of the first things that comes within sight is this fortress. And it stands pretty prominent on this cliff, this rocky cliff that surrounds it. You can see it right away before you even get into sight of the town itself. You can see this fortress. It's very prominent. And as you draw closer and closer, you see near the entrance to the village, you can see this large stone tower. If you could see where my cursor is hovering, that's where you were located.
Okay.
You see that?
Yep.
Okay, that's basically an entry tower. And as you approach, you see about maybe 4 or 5. Obviously, there's some kind of town guard or town watch, and they're kind of walking around, kicking the dirt with their feet, not looking too busy, just keeping an eye on people entering and leaving, and particularly you, because they've never seen you before. And they kind of watch you, but they don't make any moves or say anything until one individual, a female human, comes out from the tower and eyes you all up and down and walks towards you and says, what's your business? What is your business here?
I will just raise my hands as a gesture of no ill will. We are travelers coming from Dobek.
All right. They kind of look you up and down for your weapons and if you're a spellcaster, but they're not touching you. They're not threatening you. They're just giving you a good look. And then that
we are travelers from Zobek. We're heading south. We hope to stay here the night, spend some time here, look for work, sell some things that we required on the way, and all in all, just lie low. We don't wish to cause trouble.
Very good. Don't cause trouble either. We'll be keeping our eye on you. Go ahead, pass in. And they let you enter. So it's not really a big deal getting into Bridal, as you can see, but they are kind of eyeing you. So they're watching. And as you can see from the map, you got what's called the King's Way. This is a much wider portion of the King's Road. It's quite a bit wider. And that's basically, they call it the King's Way. Mm-hmm. And this is the main thoroughfare through the town.
So, is there anything that looks like blacksmith shop or a place that could sell these swords and armor at?
I believe from my memory here, I believe it's right there on the left, number 2. So it's like easy to spot. It's right there.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. It's not number 2. Let me see. You see a bakery. You see what looks like a tavern. Number 3 is a tavern. It's got a picture of a big stag on the front of its sign. You see a granary. That's number 4. Where is that? That should be right along the way. I don't want to give away too much information here. Where's number 4? Oh, it's way down here. No, you didn't see the granary. They don't have a granary. What are you looking for?
I'll just ask around. I'm just looking for a place to sell off the armored weapons that we have. Want to get rid of those as quickly as possible.
Oh, yeah, that's no problem. If you wanted to find a place for that, you're quickly directed to a place called Sevash Trade Goods. So if you want to trade in any stuff, they buy, sell, and trade. Weapons, armor, equipment, all kinds of goodies.
Okay.
That's
I will walk in and introduce myself. Sure. And,
okay, we'll do that. But first, before we go any further, you guys tell me what you would like to do. You're passing down the King's Way, And here's Bridal. This is it. One of the first things you spot, you probably missed this, James, is this big fortress on the top of this cliff.
Okay.
Make of that what you will, but there's a big fortress here. There's also towers at the entry points to this place, and you just crossed over this one up here.
Okay.
Marked 1. You were eyed up and down by the guards. Obviously, the town watch. You were questioned a little bit, but they seem kind of lax and at ease here, so they just let you meander in and keep those weapons sheathed, basically. And as you travel down the King's Way, you see all kinds of different shops. You see a lot of trees. And if you look at the map, you will actually see there is quite a few trees, even in the midst of the buildings. It's quite unusual coming from Zobik or some of the bigger places. Towards the middle of the town, right where my pointer is, this is an important location. Right where it says King's Way. This right here is the market center. It's so obvious. It's not incredibly active at the moment. It is mid-afternoon, but there is quite a few people here buying and selling and trading all kinds of things like breads and meats, and as well as rare items and jewelries and clothing. There's a little bit of activity in there as well. You've also passed by, you could see a couple different taverns, an inn, and various other shops like granaries and bakeries, things of that nature. It's lots of people are on the streets. It's not a lot of people, but there is, you know, for the buildings that are here, it's pretty good. It's a pretty active place, and relatively lax. You don't see a lot of people wearing weapons, but you do see a town guard that occasionally passes by here and there. And of course, number 6, or is it number 5? I think it's number 5. If you look at that, you get this big temple here, which is so obvious. That is the Temple of Lada, the Shield Monastery, the Holy Shield Monastery. And it's very prominent. Its steeples reach very high. If we get a better look at this map, you'll also see what's called the God's Brow, which is on the eastern side of the town. There's also some towers setting atop this cliff edge. So there's all kinds of interesting little tidbits for you to explore here just by looking at the map. There's a fortress over here as well, a little wooden palisade. And this is information you would get just from talking to people as well as walking in the streets and seeing and checking things out for yourself. So at this point, you're ready to decide what you would like to do. Do you want to grab an inn? Do you want to just wet your palate at the local ale house? Or do you want to dump all this stuff off, the weapons and armor you bought at the market or Sava's trade store?
Yeah, I'd say go sell that stuff.
Yeah,
That's a good start.
Yeah, dump it off quick, which is no problem. There's a place in here you're directed to. It's building number 10. I could point to it with my pointer here. You don't have to write this stuff down. I have it down for you, but it's just so you know. Number 10, Sava's Trade Goods. And that's the place where where you can buy everything from general goods like foods that you might need, as well as what adventurers would look for, like maybe odd, simple weapons and armor, shields, or rope. Farming stuff is found here as well. It's basically a general store. So if you want to sell your stuff, this is the place to do it, and they'll gladly accept it. And the owner's name is Lan Savash.
It's his Savage Trade Goods.
Savash Trade Goods. I guess in your notes you could put number 10.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's a human. He's in his 50s. He's a pretty bulky looking, pretty big guy. He's a large mole on his left cheek. So if you want to remember him for anything, you can remember that large mole on his left cheek. That's Lan Savash. Friendly. He welcomes you into the establishment, and he'll offer a good top price for whatever you got to trade in or sell.
I will enter with an equally large smile and just go up to the counter and put down the swords and armor and just see what we can get for them.
Junk. Get out of my establishment. Junk. All right. One thing I got to look up here because I don't know how this works in D&D. I know in Pathfinder it's half price, but how does it work in D&D? What's the value of things when you sell them?
If I recall, they don't really set that per se.
I think that's more or less what's usually up to the DM, whatever they decide.
Yeah.
All right, here's the rule. As a general rule, undamaged weapons, armor, and other equipment fetch half their cost when sold in a market. Weapons and armor used by monsters are rarely in good enough condition to sell. So these weren't monsters per se, so you're going to get half price for everything that's in here. So if you want to go to your player handbook and look up the value of leather armor and long swords, get half of that back and you're good.
Just want to, we each get, there's three, just we each get that value.
Leather armor's 10 gold pieces each. That's so you'll get 10. So it'll be 30 halved. 15, sorry. You get 15 gold for that.
So 5 each.
Right. And the long swords. Where are they? Long sword. There it is. 15 each. You got.
So 7.5, 15, 5. So that'd be what, 20, 22 in gold and 5 silver?
Yeah.
Make it 30.
Just a straight even 30?
Yes.
So that would be 20 gold each. Does that sound right?
No, it'd be 15 each.
What was the leather?
Leather was a total of 15 to sell.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yep. Okay.
30.
Yep.
That'd be 15 each.
Yep. Okay.
It's not that all. 17 plus 15, 20, 30, 32.
15. Add.
And if you guys want to try buying any new weapons or trading anything else in, this is the place to do it.
Is there any weapons or anything that just look interesting that I might be able to use?
Well, you look at the player handbook list and you ask me if they have it. Chances are good they do. Probably not exotic stuff. Martial and simples, yeah.
Okay.
Is there exotic weapons in D&D?
Yeah.
No.
But I think those are more saved for like epic loot drops or something like that.
So you guys can do that. You can, if you want to buy new stuff, if it's in the player handbook, then unless it's really expensive, which I don't think you can afford, just go ahead and buy it because this is where you can get it.
Yeah, so they'd have like the general stuff like rope and backpack and
all that good stuff.
All right.
Basic.
Is there any spyglasses?
Sure. Want spy glasses?
Yeah, something I can see long range with.
Shovel. There's a nice shovel there, +1. Where would it be under? I don't see it under S. Yeah, it is. Spyglass. 1,000 gold pieces? Okay, yeah. They don't even have that here. Sorry. That's high tech.
1,000 gold for a spyglass.
You are asking me, can I have spyglasses? 1,000 gold pieces. Forget it.
Well, I'm just looking for something like I didn't think it would be that expensive. Jeez, oh Pete.
Yeah, I know. That's modern technology. It's like having the newest iPhone.
I guess. Good lord.
All right, I think for the moment I'm okay.
I think I just want to buy some more arrows.
There you go. There's a rule for that in D&D. Like, you can get half of your spent arrows back after a battle. If you make a die roll or something.
Arrows.
I'll have to look that up. But it used to be when you shoot something, when you shoot an arrow, it's gone. It's gone forever. You can't get it back.
Yeah.
All right,
But you
for
only-
advantage, got arrows for 20 of them for 1 gold piece.
Yep. So whatever you guys need, feel free to go through with that. And we'll do a little bit more before I call it quits for the night, because I want you guys to have some options before we go to the next session, as well as buy stuff or sell stuff that you can do on your own. But you need a place to stay and maybe learn about some potential jobs or rumors. You can get rumors here too, you know. And,
Hey,
then
real quick, I'm gonna buy 10 pieces of parchment for a gold. Let's say they cost. Are you just using the book price?
The book. Use the book.
Okay. So we'll just do the math. It does not.
What do you want to do for a place to stay? Do you have anything in mind? Do you want top notch? Do you want the best inn?
Well, a magnifying glass is only 100 gold
Oh,
pieces.
God, he's still talking about the magnifying glasses.
I would like to. I'll like walk to the fine establishment and scout it out, check it out, see how it is, perhaps see if it's within my price range, having to put on airs and all that.
Okay, let me look here. The most prominent inn in the place is you're directed to is right along the King's Way. And it's also a tavern, which is a plus. And it's called the Wayward Inn and Tavern. And it's number 14 on the map. It's right next to the market, in fact.
Okay.
It's also next to some other prominent buildings, which I won't go into yet. But
What
it's
were
number
they-
14. It's run by Kara Solani. Kara Solani. Solani. She's commonly known as Ms. Kara.
I'm sorry, what was the name of the inn again?
The Wayward
Wayward?
Inn and Tavern. Sounds like Dragonlance, doesn't it? Inn of the Last Home. No, it's not Dragonlance. Good. I thought I subconsciously used the Dragonlance term. And it's run by Kara Solani, known as Ms. Kara. I won't go into too much details about her, but that's who she is, and she runs it.
What would be the rate of a solitary room or solo room?
In this place, it's pretty standard, like in the rulebook. So if you want, the only thing I'll say you can't have is the really pricey, top-notch rooms.
Sure. Just because they don't exist.
Yeah, it's only a town.
Yeah.
That's under page 158 under food, drink, and lodging. So if you wanted comfortable, you'd pay about 8 silver pieces in this place per night.
Do they have the wealthy room available?
They do have a wealthy room. You're going to pay two gold pieces for that.
I will pay 2 gold for the wealthy room.
Okay, make sure you write this down. How about you guys, Winnie?
Yeah, I'll pay for a wealthy room too.
Well, you guys, if you want, you can get all the same, all of you.
sorry, what?
You could also do that because you can just buy one room for all of you, and you'll have multiple beds. You can do it that way.
No. That's unacceptable.
Okay, make it difficult, James. Make it difficult. Write it down. Everybody write their own prices down. Wealthy is 2
Beyond.
gold pieces. Yeah. Comfortable is 8 silver pieces.
I'll just take a comfortable room.
Yeah, you sleep in the tree out back.
That's perfectly fine by me.
It's free.
That's better. So that was 8 silver pieces.
The
comfortable, but not
comfortable is 8.
Okay. Yeah, I'll buy that. I'll get myself a room.
8 silver pieces a night and 2 gold pieces a night if you want a wealthy room. And this is all available at the same establishment. There's multiple places where you can do all this, but this is the most prominent inn in Bridal, so this is the way to go. At least that's what they tell you. And for the time being, because you don't know how long you're going to be here, just pay for it on a daily basis. But if you end up staying here an extended period of time, we'll just use the living expenses rolls, which basically is a monthly expense. It'll simplify things. But for now, keep it at daily, just so we know what we're doing. Until we know what we're doing. Lifestyle expenses, it's called. Aristocratic, 10 gold pieces minimum. That's per day. Pipes. You can also get. Go ahead.
No. I'm sorry. I got a lot to continue.
But also tools are available. You can get them at the general store. Let me think. What else do you need to know? There is. Let me see here. There is a smithy, a blacksmith. Jarl's Smithy, it's called. And this guy basically, he'll repair weapons and armor. He specializes in weapons. He'll make custom pieces for you. And it's called Jarl's Smithy, and it's number 16.
Okay. So
if you want some specialized stuff or some repairs, it might be a good place to check out. So you've got that to consider.
Okay.
There is, wait a minute. What is this? There's also a couple herbalists and healers. If you ever need some kind of alchemy stuff or healing potions or to get healing through alchemy. There are places of that sort here. I won't go into it unless you want it. Let me zip back up.
So
yes.
I'm going to sell some of my stuff that I have.
You are.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell my longbow, my leather armor, and my short sword.
Okay.
And that should 35.5. That'll give me 35.5. And then I want to buy. Dang it. I lost it. Hold on, let me find it again. Keep going.
Take your time. Is there anything else in particular you guys would be looking for? Places, establishments?
I think for me, I'm gonna have to maybe think about it over the week, and then I'll maybe shoot you some messages during the week. Okay. So I want to dig into my back. I want to kind of maybe you and I over Messenger, we can expand my background a little bit. And that'll help me key into what I want to dig into.
Gotcha.
I'm kind of drawing a blank right now.
Yeah, you're getting tired, I could tell.
Yeah, my eyes are starting to droop.
I'll give you one more location to take note of, and it's number 6. Okay. And it's a place called Yolandil's Elixirs and Wondrous Items. YOLANDIL. Possessive S.
Yolando's elixirs. I'm sorry.
Yolando's elixirs and wondrous items. The individual's name is Yolandil Shade. And it's basically, he's a trader in all manner of oddities, magical or otherwise. Chemical elixirs, everything of that ilk. So that's a place of note for would-be adventurers.
I got it all figured out. Selling my longbow, my arrows, my short sword, and my leather armor, and I'm going to buy scale mail armor.
Reboot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Hey, and I'm sorry, you said that was number 6, the Yolando's elixirs.
Yeah, I believe it is. Let me double check. Number 6.
Okay, number 6. Cool.
Which is right next to the Holy Shield Monastery. You also notice at the marketplace, the taverns, you also notice they have some nice little hire posts, which are basically where people looking for help wanted post little things on the post. So it might be a thing of interest you might want to pay attention to.
Yeah, I'll be
besides
taking
just
that.
besides just rumors and such. But I want to give you guys a feel for bridal and what's available, and still give you some options so that you can plan something for the next session. So I'd like to do that before we call it quits, James. I suppose you want to take a look at that, the hiring posts.
Yeah, I would definitely want to check that out too.
So let's do that right now. And this is some of the things that you can get from the various posts that are around town. Again, at taverns. And actually, let me tell you also, there is a town hall right behind the place where you're staying, the Wayward Inn and Tavern.
Okay.
It's number 12. And it's another prominent building. Lots of stonework in this building. And it's flanked by a tower, a roofed tower. You can probably see it on the map if you look. I don't know if you can. You're using little tiny phones, but it's there. And this is the town hall. And this is where they keep the jail and all the baddies. They do the law stuff, all that cool government thing, you know. So it's right behind the tavern. It's hard to miss, and it's pretty obvious what it is.
Okay.
So that's number 12. And you'd also see higher post there as well. And
I would
let me
want
give
that one first.
Well, I'm just going to give you what you find regardless of where it is, just to move it along a little bit. Some of the things that you found. Now, I'll just read these off. You don't have to write them down. Just take a note in your head if they're interesting or not. Here's one you found. Beast hunter needed. Vicious owl bear infestation on the road to Tuckborough. Bounty for all left paws or wings brought in to the bridal town guard.
Okay.
Here's another one. Interesting. Top price paid for ancient artifacts and relics retrieved from the ruins of the haunt. Reward paid upon verification of items. Contact Yolandil's elixirs and wondrous items. Okay. You got that?
Yeah.
Yep. Good.
I'll give you another one. Rat exterminator wanted. Rats are plaguing my basement. Valuable items missing. Need to be rid of them as soon as possible. Extra reward if items retrieved intact.
Who's asking for that one?
I don't know. I left the name off the damn sheet.
So we're just
Put
talking about rat extermination.
Well, I'll let you guys do a little creation in this world since we're doing this together. You come up with a name. Go ahead. Go for it, James. This is for you. Come on, man.
Something's
Not
snobby.
easy.
So this is what this is my worst. I'm horrible with names.
Yeah. 5, 4.
Bakken.
3.
Bakken.
Fakken.
Bokken.
All right, Fakken. Write that down. I better write it down too.
Bakken.
Fakken. F-A what?
Bakken. Bakken. Bokken.
Boken.
Yeah, Bokken. Yeah, there you go. Let's do that. Let's do Bokken.
No Vulcan way.
Oh, Lauren, you got to come up with the last name. Boken isn't enough. We need a last name. Winnie too. Both of you work on this one. The last name. Boken what?
Cat's paw.
That's not a real last.
So it's like a rogue.
Is that Cat's Paw?
Yeah.
With a K.
Yeah.
Okay. There he is. Boken
Yeah, I
Cat's
like
Paw.
It's got a nice that rolls nicely.
I just find it ironic he has a rat problem. So
Boken Cat's Paw. I forgot that part. He's the rat exterminator wanted. Oh, silliness.
Would you mind going back to the world map too, real quick, or is there a way you can put the two maps side by side, maybe?
I should be able to if you can see it. Let me.
Yeah, because I can see the town map right now on my computer just fine.
Let's see. I could move this so you could see what's what. And then what did you want? The
world map or whatever. Yeah, there you go.
Oops, wrong way. I think I could resize the actual picture as well. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, that's good enough. I can make stuff out, I think. Maybe not.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. What do you want to know?
Well, I was just kind of, looking at, ideas to get ideas for, to do next time. I was just going to see if I could see anything that looked interesting on the map.
This map of the town, I'm going to post that to the group. I don't think I posted it yet. So I'll put that up immediately. But let me give you at least one more, maybe two more possible jobs. Here's one. Town guard looking for assistance dealing with local masked vigilante. Good pay or clearing of minor offenses. Bring a friend. He keeps finding more sidekicks. Inquire at the town hall. I'm not going to read that again. Anyway, this one here is a possibility. Looking for scouts and guards to escort wood-cutting parties in the Margrave. Woodland skills, a plus. Contact the old stone mill. Now, there's actually a contact person that you can look up in Bridal because the old stone mill does not exist here. It's actually up in Tuxborough. So there's a name I got to put into that. So we'll leave that alone for the moment.
Okay.
And I'll give you a few more rumors specific to Bridal to whet your appetite. Here's one. Here's a rumor you've picked up on. It's sitting around in the tavern here in Gib Gab. No rolls for this. This is straight up stuff that you can definitely hear just by listening. People have been disappearing late at night in the northern end of town. That would be the part closest to the fortress, I believe. Yeah. Town Watch and militia are always looking for new recruits, so keep that in mind. That's another little rumor. And I'll give you two more. Rat folk thieves are quite active in the outskirts of town. Nasty little buggers. Some say they're in a clan somewhere outside of town. In other words, there's rumored to be a clan of rat folk somewhere. They seem to be infesting the outskirts of grief. That's a rumor. And I'll give you one more. People have reported strange digging under their homes late at night. Some say it is the ghouls. And in case you don't know, there's what's known as the Ghoul Empire that dwells under the ground. In fact, they're a big reason why there are drow and orcs driven to extinction because of this Ghoul Empire. And they're most recently aligned with the kingdoms of Morgau in the north, which are basically your vampire kingdoms. It's a pretty nasty alliance, ghouls and vampires. But
that's what I'm interested in.
That's a rumor that you've heard. Strange digging late at night under the homes. Could be the ghouls, the Ghoul Empire. I'm telling you. And that should be enough to whet your appetite. You want me to repeat any of those, or?
I got them written down. If you got, you know what? I think what I'll also do is I'll type them up and put them in a. I'll type all this up and put it in a PDF and then post it to the message group.
Good.
And one other thing to note is that I recorded this session. I missed the first part of it, but I did record almost all of the session. So I'll leave it for you guys to look at. It's just raw video. It's not something I'm going to make public. I'm going to edit it first, big time. But you guys will have access to it, and you can look at it later.
All right.
Where will
So if you
Say again.
Where will it be posted at once you edit it?
I'll put the link to it in the group.
Okay.
So it'll be like a private YouTube video or whatever.
I'll mark it as unlisted because it's the only way you could
Okay.
share it. I make it unlisted, and that way, the only way people could look at it is if they actually have the link, and that's what I'll post in the group. So you'll have it, you'll be able to click it and be able to watch it and laugh and carry on and what kind of idiots we are. And if you want to catch up on something we missed, you know, that's what it's for. Eventually, I'll edit it big time and make it like a story, maybe put visuals with miniatures and all kinds of stuff with you guys talking and everything. It would be
cool.
Yeah, it'd be really entertaining, but we'll see. First things first. So those are some rumors. Those are the possible jobs you can look into. I recommend you really look at this map of Bridal, as well as the other map that I showed you guys. What is this? This map here. And like I said, these maps have all kinds of clues in themselves written on them. So, for instance, if Winnie was very curious about, what is this Tanglewood? That's an interesting name. It's not far from Bridal. You know, ask about that Tanglewood. What is that? Is there druids in there? Is there mysterious spider creatures? What's in there? That's what it's there for. So it kind of gets your imaginations going. So feel free to look at these maps to try and pull information and ideas from. It'll help gameplay. So with all that said, do you have any idea yet? You don't have to tell me now. You can tell me later on in the week. But I recommend you guys talk this over amongst yourselves and figure out what you would like to go do, what you'd like to investigate, whether it's a rumor or whether it's a possible job opportunity, or just something from the map you're curious about. Find out what you're going to do. So let me know before the next session. That'll help me to prep things and flesh out areas that you're most interested in that I haven't done yet. So we can keep the campaign going and build on this narrative.
And we're looking at getting together Friday.
So far, it's excellent for everybody except maybe you.
I looked at my schedule and there's nothing on my schedule yet. So at the moment, I'm good to go. Although depending on what time it goes, if it's, you know, if I'm not flying, I'll definitely be able to join in over my phone or whatever.
Yeah,
so
you'll probably want to.
Yeah,
it's good fun.
So
what do you guys think? Did you have fun?
Oh yeah.
Yep. It's been a while since I've been able to play.
Yeah.
It was a bit rough. I was not ready for this, to be honest with you. But
It
the
sounded
best thing
fine
you
to
can
me.
do, the best thing you can do is just do it. Jump in, start
Yep.
going, and just let it build, and the story and the rules will all tighten up as you could go down the road. So that's out of the way. Session 1.
So the most important question:
Uh-oh.
how much experience do we get?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Every session, you get some experience points. So let me double check. Glad you reminded me because I forgot. Well, you walked over those guys. I shouldn't give you nothing. Slaughtered them, jumping on tables. And
Well, I don't know. Walking over, man, he whacked me pretty hard. If I'd stayed in it, I probably wouldn't be here.
yeah, that's true. You got a little too close for a spellcaster. Oh, I gotta walk right up to him and give him some melee.
Especially a spellcaster without the armor spell.
All right, so you get. Where's my pen? So much for that. And then you get. I gave you guys quite a bit, actually. There's a guy walking around with 50 gold pieces in his belt pouch. All yours now. Don't forget that little necklace.
Or we're holding on to that because in case we, it's like our mark if we find Naya again, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what she said. Oh, that's the wrong guy. Wow. Okay. All right. What else? What else did you do?
Killed those 4 or 5 guys. I can't remember how many there were.
We killed
5.
3.
We overcame 5.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I killed
Well,
them. Then the other 3 we stripped down and sent off into the woods.
Terrible.
that's pretty funny. I don't care who you are. That's hilarious.
You know what? Maybe they'll learn their lesson. Don't do bad stuff.
All right. Let's see. All right, you each get precisely 66 experience points.
Woo!
It's not a heck of a lot, but it's good for a first session. There's only 3 of you.
It's better than 0.
Right?
It's more than old Rolf got. He disappeared out in the woods.
So is this at least for this early part? Is this kind of like the kind of playing it like a West March Standbox style, where if we can't make it to a session, we're able to we're conducting business around town or whatever the case may be. Is that kind of how we're running it?
Well, it's a combination of sandbox and narrative story. I mean, I do have basically it's like this. I'll share some DM information with you. That's just if you ever be a DM. What I do is I create a sandbox setting like I have, and then I throw in all these rumors, as you can tell, and these potential direction you can go. But I give you the choice. Where do you want to go? But I make all these options for you. You can go anywhere you want. You could take any option you want. You could do things I didn't even think of, or you can do something that I was prepared for. But I create all these things for you. And it's at its bare bones. Maybe it's just a rumor. Like say, for instance, I just had a rumor of, oh, the Tanglewood is haunted by spiders. It's rumored. Well, if you guys decide to go there, I would build on that if I didn't already. So that maybe it's giant spiders inhabiting it. Maybe it's twisted druids, a cult of twisted druids. But regardless of what it is, you choose to go that direction. And we build off of that. That's kind of how I do it. I've always done it that way. So it's a combination. You know, there is a narrative I have in mind that's going on. That's going on behind the scenes that may or may not be linked to rumors or whatever, but that's a story arc, and that's a little bit different. Like, for instance, what if something as small as that trinket that Nia gave Winnie, what if that's part of a storyline that has no rumors, or maybe it does, but it's part of some storyline narrative that I have also got going that you guys don't really know about. And in that way, you get the narrative and the sandbox in one. And it'll all come to fruition as we play. So I'm not going to go into any more detail than that.
Quick question regarding the notes that I type up. Do you want me to put that into the messenger chat, or do you want me to put that into the Midgard Facebook page?
What do you mean, the group details?
Yeah, this notes that I've taken, I'm gonna type them up. Do you want me to put them where would be appropriate to put it? I mean, would it be on the full Midgard Facebook page that you have, or should I keep it in our private chat that we have?
Go ahead and put it in the group, because everybody that's in it is eventually going to play in this campaign.
All right, that works for me.
Just put it there. Maybe tag the players so they can all see it.
Okay.
And that's about it. So I'll let you guys talk it over the next few days, what you want to do, come up with some ideas, some of your own ideas and group ideas. And that'll give me time to prepare for Friday what you want to do.
Yeah. Just like my armor class is now 16.
Hooray!
Yay!
You did it. Reboot. It works.
Whatever is worked to the group when we discuss about stuff that we want to do, I definitely, absolutely, 100% want to check out the strange digging under homes.
I kind of want to check out rat extermination, because I think it might be linked to
the clan.
The clan, and the clan might actually be linked to the digging.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm down with the rat infestation.
And also, we can go talk to Barkin Catspaw. Boken Catspaw.
Yeah, see what I come up with. Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, let's do that. Let's go talk to the rat exterminator, and then maybe we can also pop by and see what we can investigate on those strange diggings. How's that sound?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right.
I'm excited to see where Rolf fits in, because he will make an appearance. I remember you up at that woods. You were talking to shit.
Down here with all these rats.
Yeah, there he is.
What time on Friday are we thinking?
He's chained to some pole out in the woods, surrounded by the rat folk as a sacrifice. Oh, sorry, James. Sorry, James. What?
What time are we thinking on Friday?
I prefer early, because I get exhausted after about 6 o'clock at night, because I go to bed early, real early. I get up early, but it's up to you guys.
Friday morning works good for me.
Yeah, I'm off all day, so anytime.
Like 10 a.m. Friday?
We don't have to go too early, not like that, but I'm thinking like anytime after 3 in the afternoon.
Oh.
3 or 4. Maybe even 2. If you want to go early, we'll go to 2 o'clock in the afternoon and play to like midnight.
Yeah, anything after noon, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
it really. Go ahead.
I was just saying, like I said, I should be good Friday. Just as long as I'm not actually actively doing a trip.
Yeah, so you could be available all day.
I could be available all day, or there might be periods where I'm unavailable. So,
do you guys remember what Chris said as far as time on Friday?
He said all day and all night.
Oh, there you go. So. Well, we'll see what happens then. We'll start early and end late.
All right.
We'll see what happens.
Man, have we really been doing this for 4.5 hours? It doesn't even feel like it.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is. God almighty, it's 11 o'clock here. Well, I hope you guys had a good time. Thanks, Marissa, for taking part. What did you think? It's like your first real session. Come on.
Yeah,
Have you never played D&D before?
I've played like
Pathfinder.
3 sessions of Pathfinder, and that's it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I've this is my first 5e. I've never played 5e before, but
Same with me.
I'm pretty knowledgeable in Pathfinder, but
You are.
yeah,
You are. That's why I don't have you in my campaigns, because you just
yeah.
you did that wrong.
No, nothing like that. But I do like 5e from what I've read as far as the rules and what they have and what they do and stuff. I think I'm gonna really like it.
It's a lot simpler to pick up than Pathfinder is.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
yes, and I think, just reading it, I think from a DM perspective, it would be a lot easier to manage.
Yep, it is.
I mean, the campaign that we're playing, that when I play with my brother this weekend, we're finishing it. We finished up book 4 of the Rise of the Rune Lord's Adventure Path, and they're all level 11 to level 12. All this high level magic stuff, and it's just like, oh, this is such a headache trying to figure out, modifiers and okay, what spells are active and this, that, and the other thing. And
yeah,
this is easy.
I think if you don't use all the rules that they throw at you, if you just stick with the core game, and play reasonable, I think it's a really good game. Even with all the modifiers in your head, it's easier to manage. But when you start adding Unchained stuff and all these new character concepts and classes and race, you get tons of them, and it's just too much to remember.
We're just basically, I think, for the most part, it's just core rulebook stuff, and they might be dabbling with some advanced player's guide stuff, as far as like spells or feats or whatnot. But it's not, we're not crazy with all that stuff. But even with that, it's just, you have some spell effect, and then it's like, okay, well now I have to do this or that, or it's just
double check everything.
Yeah,
triple check.
You have to have Hero Lab open with the whole thing just to keep track of everything.
Yeah, you know what I love about it though? The thing is, and it's why I love that game more than any other role-playing game I've ever played. It's the simple fact that it is detailed, because detail means it's more immersive. You get pulled more into it, even though it's rules. Just the more you play, those rules become second nature. It's easy. It's one of the reasons I stayed clear of playing other games like D&D. Because of that, I want to focus on Pathfinder, man. This is it. Give me 5 years, I will be a god of Pathfinder. That's no longer difficult.
I definitely understand that, but I've been around Pathfinder enough that I want to go the other way.
You don't play enough. You don't play enough Pathfinder, James. You know it.
Well, no, I don't play enough Pathfinder, but I've got enough going on with everything else that I want to keep it simple.
Yeah, it's all good. And in case you didn't know, this is my first game of D&D 5e as well. I've never played it.
You're fine. You done good.
I hope so. There's a lot of improv and looking up notes that I took. So hopefully it'll get better and smoother, and my voice will come back. I couldn't do the female voices tonight. Sorry. Like when you guys entered the tower, I said this grizzled woman, or this woman guard comes out, and my voice was totally off. I was like, what are you doing here? I had to visualize this old hag with a cigarette in her mouth.
She's had a couple. I was gonna say she's had a couple cigars in her life.
Yep. That was challenging. But I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Marissa, thanks for taking part and playing, and I hope you guys come back. Don't disappear on me. And we'll watch this campaign grow and blossom.
Well, I think we've decided we want to do the rat exterminator and go check out the holes in the ground for Friday. So I guess you can start planning that.
Or I'll jot that down right now, my friend.
Make an interesting character for Beck and Cat's Paw. Spoken.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
Boken
God.
Cat's Paw.
Even if you do something else, you're going to check that one out just to see this guy.
Yep.
Who is this cat's paw dude, man?
Yep.
I'll come up with something. Don't worry about it. All right, guys, let's get ready to pack it up. Thanks for joining. I was going to say Chris, but Chris isn't here. He popped in and left.
Well, it was a pleasure meeting you too, and it'll be fun to keep gaming. So I'm excited.
Huh?
I look forward to Friday.
Yes.
Colin, I forgot your name, dude. Thanks for joining, Colin. I got you confused with Chris. Yeah. And James, as always, I haven't talked to you in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But I'll keep in touch with you guys in the group. I'll post that picture of Bridal and anything else. And feel free to role play it up in the group too. Keeps things going, in between sessions. But yeah, we'll be ready for Friday.
All right.
Okay, guys. And I'll post this video up as well tonight, the unedited stuff. So it should be available to watch by the time you're up tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
I imagine for how long it is, it probably takes a while to upload, doesn't it?
No, it's immediately.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
The only thing it does is process, and it might take a few minutes, but that's it. As soon as I post it, there it is. You watch.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
See y'all Friday.
See you, James.
Take care.
You guys too. Take care.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Turn the other damn computer off.